Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation thrives on the strength of its global community of over 80,000 passionate fans united by a shared love of professional wrestling and a commitment to making a difference. While the foundation was founded to advocate for pediatric cancer awareness and mental health support, it has grown to champion and support multiple initiatives aimed at creating meaningful change in communities worldwide. Through dynamic fundraising events, awareness campaigns, and initiatives that foster connection, the foundation supports causes that uplift individuals and families in need. From empowering children and families facing significant challenges to creating opportunities for hope, healing, and progress. The Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation is dedicated to being a force for good. This connected and compassionate community continues to inspire action and drive impact, ensuring that hope and support remain at the forefront of all its efforts. Donate today and join the cause at mcchamps.org.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
With wintertime comes the twinkle of snowflakes, a brisk feeling in the air, and the loud roar of race cars in the Florida Panhandle. Tonight, the Universal Motorsports Tour presents the 2025 edition of its Snowball Brawl, benefiting Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation, and it's here on V-Speed. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to iRacing's virtual Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for tonight's coverage is Connor Horn, with Bradley Cooper as our producer, using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Plenty of partners coming along for the ride, to say the very least, as we see how these drivers handle the ride tonight. A full distance 300-lap race on the docket, Connor, with lots at stake for the prizes, and better yet, lots of competitive drivers ready to roar.
It should be a fun one. I'm surprised I'm not out there. Usually when you're commentating, I'm racing, but not the case. This should be a really fun one. Snowball Derby is always a fun event, even if it's official or unofficial. And this is not just going to be a half race that we've seen earlier the past few weeks in some other series. This is a full-length 300-lapper. It's going to be tough to make those tire sets last at least 100 laps, at the most 100 laps, because we have that 100-lap rule. I believe you have one faster pair, and you get that incident DQ rate. You get 30 incidents, you're done. It should be a very fun event, a very fun racetrack, very tough racetrack to pass at as well, but that's what makes the Snowball Derby so special.
Drivers are getting ready for the starting grid real quickly. I'd like to remind you that this Snowball Brawl is brought to you by and in support of Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation. transforming the wrestling community through meaningful change and supporting impactful causes, including pediatric cancer research. Help them reach their goal of $50,000 raised by making a donation today at mcchamps.org. That's mcchamps.org. That's also going to be in the description throughout tonight's broadcast for those watching along here on V-Speed as we get ready to see where the drivers now fare out. They finished up qualifying a few minutes ago, their drivers meeting just a couple seconds ago, which means 33 drivers are just about ready to hit the racetrack. As they make their way forward, here are their starters for tonight. Brandon Wilkinson, keep an eye on him, the well-known in real-life spotter and a member of the posse, alongside Ronald Cole, on your front row tonight. Row number 2, that will see a driver with NASCAR Xfinity Series experience, Nick Lights. He'll start alongside Tristan Pena. Row number 3, that will feature Wyatt Walker and Ralph Hatlett will start in the 6th spot in the 81 car. 7th goes to Cody Vaughn. He'll start alongside Wesley Lynch. And your top 10 will feature the 8 of Jaden Del Toro, and Cody Smith starts in 10th as they're already rolling.
11th position, Nicholas Caldwell. We'll see what he can do from 11th. He starts alongside Victor Pfluger in the 12th position, the number 15. Walter Sahadak, the 77, starts 13th. Michael Boyd, the number 21. Great paint scheme on that car, will start 14th. 15th position, Joseph Mile, the 39. A little bit of a throwback to maybe Harry Gant, will start 15th. Jesse Gordon in the 10 will start 16th. And then rounding out the top half of the field, just about the top half of the field, Jacob Phillips, number 56, will start 17th. Anthony Burleson, 18th position, the number 97. And then rounding out the top 20, Kenneth Gallman, the number 71. He'll start alongside Roger Diebold in the 38.
One of the well-known drivers for Thunderclap, Noah Rainwater, also from that club. John Walker back there. The rest of the field going across your screen as they're already getting ready for the start. They've just extended that. So a look at the rest of the starters. Chase Leahy starts on the front. He'll start alongside Justin Clapper, 23rd, 24th positions. 25th tonight goes the way of Matt Hoyland. Bo Condon will be next behind those drivers here this evening. Danny Weir will start in 27th tonight with Damian Neeson down in 28th. Mateo Lapointe will start 29th. 30 of Justin Miller. The rest of your starters are like this. Lloyd Moore down to 31st. Christopher Terry down to 32nd. And Josh Wren is your last driver in the field tonight in the 88. Start shotgun for the field tonight. So as they've extended the pace laps to make sure everyone is all set to go and the grid is all sorted, your keys to victory as we should be getting ready to go racing in just a moment.
My keys to victory is track position, I would say. I think you're going to need to be at the front. It's going to be hard to beat Brandon Wilkinson as it is, but I think starting in the top 10 is going to be the most important part. You rarely see drivers come from the back at 5 flags and take the victory. So starting at the front, the drivers who have done that have already completed step 1, I would say. And just not getting into trouble early as well. I mean, it's very easy to make a mistake, driving the corner too hard, hit someone in the rear bumper, get yourself in a wreck. Very easy to do at a tight track like this. You're going to see passes very tough to make tonight, so that's going to be a big key as well. Those are my 2 biggest keys as well. Starting at the front, some drivers have already done that. Staying out of trouble, that's a big deal. And keeping the tires on it. We only have the 2 extra tire sets, as we maybe get the 1 to green this time. Only have the 2 extra tire sets, so you're going to have to conserve the tires and know when to push them, when to save them. That's going to be maybe the biggest part tonight with the limited sets of tires available.
And keep in mind, we've seen in a few different leagues this season, Emerald comes to mind, where if you give drivers a long enough run on their tire sets, there's a risk of a rear tire failure. But tonight, we look to see who's able to come up with the victory. Top prize tonight, $165 to the winner. Top 10 in the prize pool. The field is ready. The green is out. We're underway from 5 flags. Clean start for Wilkinson up in the front of the field. Able to lead the first lap of the day. As Lenz jumps his way up to the 2nd position. In a battle, in fact, still with Ronald Cole. And clear from the high side. Precision Measurements Incorporated machine able to get the job done here. 32 on the lead lap to start. Justin Miller did start from pit lane. Everybody else doing what you expect here, Connor. Run the bottom.
It's pretty much expected. Lights traveled a little higher up the track than I would like early in the race, but he was able to make it work just to get that extra position. Now everyone trying to fight for that bottom. You do not want to drag your stuff off. You're going to probably see a lot of drivers not running 100% down the straightaways, possibly trying to conserve, especially those rears as much as possible. Those are tires I'm more concerned about than the front tires. But like you said, everyone's kind of just single filing out, trying to get in their groove, not really venturing up. Some drivers near the back maybe still trying to get down, but everyone trying to be cool, calm, and collected in the first 10 laps or so.
Some of the drivers towards the middle of the field, for example, like Del Toro, keep an eye on the center screen. Toro also in position off the jump, but is one of the many drivers, as mentioned, it's taken a little bit of a conservative mark. And we know if you break down the tire sets available till the 9, it's essentially a tire set per 100 laps. But we've seen many cases, if you push too hard in the early going, no matter the setup here, you will fade by about lap 30 to 40 and hit it really hard if you had it already by lap 70 to 80. That's why I think you're seeing Del Toro really back up these corners.
I think that's why you're seeing kind of the stack up you see in the lead with Wilkinson. You're not seeing him pull away. He might have the speed to pull away, but obviously if he pulls away and wears his tires out, regardless of having clean air, he's going to wear his stuff out, then drop back pretty quickly before we get the lap 50. So he's kind of just holding his own right now. I'm not sure how hard Nick Lights is really pushing to try to get by him. You saw that stack up out of the corner, almost cost him second position. But this is going to be what you're seeing a lot of drivers doing, just kind of backing up those corners, backing up entry, not pushing more than you have to. And that is exactly what you need to do to get through these first 100 laps.
Here we go, 14th, 13th month. Some of the drivers battling still towards the mid to back pack. For some of the drivers are trying to make a lot of ground up. For example, Jesse Gordon up 3. He's somebody we've seen in a lot of different leagues, whether you follow along with V-Speed, whether you follow along with better networks. He's a pretty solid driver. He knows how to be fast. His availability makes it difficult on the schedule for a lot of full-time campaigns. But when he races, he can put together decent pace. And tonight so far, he seems to be marching forward amongst those trying to roll the bottom as they've caught up to Del Toro and are passing Del Toro.
Yeah, Del Toro just kind of had a moment, I think, out of one of the corners. Victor Fluger, I think, is going to be the one getting that 10th position. And you can see how separate this field already is. I mean, these drivers battling for this 10th position, the top 9 or so have pulled away almost 1 to 2 seconds. So it almost makes me think those guys are either just not up to speed or they're just really saving their stuff even harder than what the front runners might be. You can see from the back bumper of the 54 of Nicholas Caldwell how big that gap has grown already.
Yeah, 1.9 seconds and growing. It is rapidly expanding between the first pack and the second. Caldwell at the tail end of the other pack. So you can tell some of the drivers have really either had the pace back up or just haven't pushed too hard. You're talking 0.2 of a difference on fast lap, mind you, not just overall pace, compared to the lead pack who blistered off to start off this run. Gordon, meanwhile, finding a way around Cody Smith, now up 4. Your biggest mover, by the way, in the race. You have to go to the mid pack of this entire grouping of cars. Lloyd Moore is up 7, but he's down at 24. Your next after that is Noah Rainwater, who's up 5.
And just those guys, especially the guys in the mid-pack that are moving forward, those are the ones that I'm sort of going to worry about the most. Wearing your stuff out in the dirtier air. Yes, it's a short track, but, you know, it is a super lit model. As we got Tristan Pena, looks like he's lagged out of a session. Someone just hit the wall at a turn 2. But looks like Pena's out for the time being. Didn't see what happened there, Justin.
He was up at the top 5, so that's a position up for grabs for drivers. That was Neeson, by the way, you mentioned with the wall contact. Hit the wall in front of Justin Miller out of 4. That's going to be the first lap car the leaders are about to face. You can see Wilkinson continues to hold on firmly in front, but there's going to be a hornet's nest pretty soon. The stretch back for some of the drivers, 4 seconds between these lap cars they're dealing with. Now in the main gaggle, they're running 16 sixes at the point, but 17 flats at the back of the pack currently as the first drivers fall a lap down here.
And one thing I was noting about the drivers who are moving up, but they're in the mid-pack, even though it's a smaller track, that dirty air still matters at a track like this, especially in the super late model cars. That's real tight action around the 11th or 12th position, but they're just going to be going slower at the back after a while. Just, you know, if you push the same amount in clean air compared to dirty air, the guy in dirty air is obviously just going to go slower. So all those drivers pushing gaining spots now, I worry about them for the long haul, as those leaders are going to come pretty soon to the back of the pack, like you were mentioning. I mean, you could see how packed up this line is. It's only a matter of time, maybe 30, 40 laps before the leaders close in.
That may be a big difference maker for some of the contenders later. We mentioned some of the big movers like Lloyd Moore. We're taking a look back at him once again. Currently around the 20th position as we go. Or we've seen a fair bit of him in a couple different leagues actually to memory. He runs a fair bit on the short track side in the 00 machine. Seems comfortable, but didn't get a good qualifying lap. And with this format, hold on, Bo Condon's had some issues. 25 having issues out through 1 and 2. Leaders catching up to him in the next moment. He was towards 26 and hit the inside wall down on the front straightaway.
Seem like all on their own on sponsor 25 car. Good looking paint scheme, but it's getting a little dinged up on the left front at a turn number 4. And yeah, just all on his own. Just got a little too eager on the throttle, got a little sideways, just couldn't catch before hitting that inside wall. Did not bring out the caution, but hurt his car and put himself a lap down.
So at the fast repair in case it is bad for him, but that's going to definitely put him in the hornet's nest here as drivers like Cole zip on by as a result there. So the top 4, by the way, so far been looking very consistent, should say. They've pulled away by another 2 seconds plus over 5th on back here. That's how quick the leaders are on average pace here compared to some of the others that have fallen a little bit earlier to the other leaders into the 17 flats, and that's not even factoring in the fact the leaders have done this with traffic. Doesn't matter. Caution flag is out front straight away. Drivers already towed. Christopher Terry brings it out.
And that gives everyone probably the reset, especially the guys 25th on back, the reset they needed to maybe get back in this race and figure out what they needed to do as far as saving their tires, getting through the field. But we'll see what happened to Christopher Terry. He was pretty much tail end lead lap, about maybe 29th position. And the same thing as we saw with the 25, just a little too eager on the throttle, and that was a bigger hit than the 25 took on the left front.
This time went all the way around in a bad spot in the front straightaway, so our first caution comes out around lap 28, 29-ish. So this does end up paying a couple drivers a lap down. Bo Condon, Damian Neeson, Justin Miller are the 1 lap down drivers. I believe Condon, if indeed there is a wave, would be in that spot. Regardless though, Connor, so far tonight, the action looking relatively clean. The average pace showcasing why it's been a difficult field. There is also a thing it's important to mention with this being a charity race. There was a prize for the highest donor for this charity race this year. That's to any driver, viewer, or sponsor. If they donate the most out of anybody, they get a VIP pass to a NASCAR Cup Series event. So that is a big-time prize and a little bit of incentive to make sure you donate to charity. The highest person so far, Late Model Painter Live, who is one of the sponsors for this event.
Pretty good event. I might have to see if I could get that, special thing up there. It should be a pretty fun one. It's obviously a fun event, like you said, for charity. Always a great event to get something for charity going, no matter what the event is, really. But this is obviously a great cause, and I'm gonna have to donate something, try to get that experience at some point.
It's currently $500 in counting per the estimate, with the donation total coming into the green flag tonight. Though, it's been a fun time so far here for the field. We're ready to go for the restart. Wilkinson in lights up at the front. Wilkinson zips away with the diamond line. 0.56 able to clear on by at the front of the field. The rest of the pack rumbles its way through turn 2.
One thing that's interesting about iRacing on 5 flags, I mean, the restart happens fairly quickly. I don't believe there's a restart zone, but once that pace truck goes off, you're kind of in the zone. That green flies rather quickly. And, oh, we got a caution somewhere at the back.
Second caution of the day, and it's a pileup. Justin Miller's amongst those destroyed. So a few different drivers back there have piled on in. Miller, for reference, had been to the back. The cause of the caution, Danny Weir got some assistance from Josh Wren. Wren 27th, Weir was 26th. They stack up out of 4. So let's take a look at your replay.
Saw it kind of in progress. Looked like from that view, maybe the 88 got in too deep and hit Danny Weir up the track. And then just, you saw how quickly it happens. So easy to pile in at this track. And yeah, 88 fired in the center of the corner, tagged the left rear of the 55, and then you got 3 or 4 cars piling in, including Bo Condon, who just got the lucky dog. So unfortunate for those drivers already at the back getting so much damage.
This is going to definitely, wow, see a few people take fast spirits. Yeah, absolute parking lot. In the real world Snowball Derby, there were some very weird incidents where some drivers had fenders bend in ways that are very hard to comprehend. And we're seeing some incidents sort of that here. Wilkinson with some tech issues. But nothing major once we go green. Anyhow, 2 caution periods so far tonight. Lucky dog spot. This caution period, I believe, went the way of Damian Neeson. It did. Here's a lucky analysis to remind those who are just jumping in here on your details. It's important to mention, again, for those who missed off the top, if we get to 100 laps, automatic caution flag would come out. Essentially, if you were to have a restart on lap 35 and then you went green until lap 135 after the restart, you essentially would then have the caution come out from there. That way, you don't have drivers have a green flag stop where you risk drivers with tire punctures. You also don't have drivers that are normally not supposed to pit under green like they don't do in real life with this car. And you don't have that happen in iRacing where those pit stops can be 2 laps to 3 laps down.
Might be 4 laps down at times. I mean, these pit stops will hurt you if you have to make one. So I think a pretty decent rule. A little longer than what I believe the real life Derby does, but that gives everyone a chance. Not really, I wouldn't say evening the playing field as much, but gives everyone a fair shot if we get 100 laps and it spreads out, get a little reset and get a little more interesting if we get there though.
Brandon Wilkinson continues to control things up front. He's off and away on the fire off to get the launch and pull himself forward. See Lights trying to find a way to get around here. The question is, what will happen for the rest of the pack though? First side by side, Lynch, Nicholas Caldwell. Longtime iRacer on the platform. He clears himself and gets himself in a line.
We'll see if we see anyone. Oh, we got someone sliding at the back. It was Michael Boyd, and they're wrecking behind him.
Now our caution flag stacking things up. We have a couple cars around, including Kenneth Gallman. So the 71 amongst those going around this time. One of the Laughing Llama Wraps machines stacked up. Looked like a bit of a parking lot on a checkup in 1 and 2.
I'm surprised this doesn't happen more. Everyone's trying to fight for the bottom in the first 2 or 3 laps. Eventually, you're going to get stack-ups caused by bumper-to-bumper contact. Looks like 21 got booted first. It just stacks things all the way back up. Looks like the 39 is who got into the 71 and sent him around. It looked like pretty much everyone got through, though, and I'd say the 21 actually made a darn good save. Michael Boyd held on to that thing somehow, but you see 44 even got a boot to the 39. It just, he's so easy to stack up. When you get one person in trouble, it stacks like 20 cars up, basically. Wow, that was almost a big collision with the 71, but a lot of drivers did a great job getting through that. Really only minimal damage.
Some more stack-ups bring things together here, to say the very least. A bad spot to be turned the wrong way around. That was near Justin Miller with an air slam, but able to avoid more. Justin Miller still toughing it out after his initial contact for one of the crashes earlier on. He does have a black flag that he's been asking to get cleared here in session. Doesn't have an in-sim mic, so that doesn't help his cause, but it has not been cleared yet by race control, so we'll see if it does or not. He's currently the next driver in line for a potential lucky dog, since he's the only person a lap down at this point.
Not sure what he got the black flag for. Remember, he was in the previous crash. He has a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that's possible, he gets that cleared. It could have been possible someone didn't pass him before the green flag came out, but we'll see if that gets cleared. He has a lot of work to do to get back into this race. Very clearly, he's, that's one thing you have when you have that faster pair. You can either, we talked about this, me and Bradley talked about this on Thursday night, another league that uses a faster pair. You can either choose to take that faster pair early and just be very cautious for the rest of the race, or you can save it, repair what you got now, and hope that you don't have to use that faster pair and you can get back to 100%. And then if you get in a crash late, you can have that possible revival with that faster pair. 300 lap race, you probably want to save it. We're seeing a lot of drivers at the back doing that.
So getting ready for the restart. Back away we go. Good launch again by Wilkinson. As they zip their way into 1 and 2. No clear, it sounds like, with Miller's case from race control as they continue to rumble their way through 3 and 4. Once again, the top 5 able to clear themselves, making the top 6 single file.
Just wonder, at one point in this race, does someone try to challenge Brandon Wilkinson? We really haven't seen Nick Lights really give him a huge run to get the race lead away from him quite yet, but you think eventually in a 300-lap race so early on, you're going to want to test and tune a little bit, see what you can do to pass him, see what moves work, what lines work, what doesn't work. So right now, I would want to be experimenting if I'm second or third.
Absolutely, right now, see how the pace is being handled by Wilkinson on the front of the field. And one of the many advantages of the top field yet to use that first set, keeping things extended here. I'll march around the racetrack. Right now, this line going about 6 seconds behind the race leader as we go here. One of the drivers to keep an eye on, too, on top of Jesse Gordon, who's now up 9. It's Nicholas Caldwell. We mentioned his name. Seen that name pop up a fair bit in the iRacing circles. You see him in front, and there's a car around in front in the middle of the track.
It's the 88.
Nope. No caution. We stay green. There's a little bit of a sketchy spot for that to happen. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think he was at the back, spun on his own, I think, and I think he backed up to get off the track, but it's still really scary situation that you really never want to see. Good on him to get out of the way, because that could have been bad. The yellow did not trigger because he was on the apron, and then here comes the entire pack as he just keeps it there. So good on him staying out of the way, but very scary moment.
Did start to roll right there for a moment. That was a bit sketchy. But no caution. We stay green. Now with that, the top 2 have been able to build a buffer over the rest of the pack. Lights providing a lot of pressure. Now Nicholas Lights appeared a lot this season with SS Green Light Racing most of the season. His one appearance technically with an RSS Racing was enough for that start. We have a crash. Caution flag is out as Jesse Gordon.
Wow, I saw that from the on bumper cam. He looked like booted. Cody Vaughn's on pit road. Might have been him. Jesse Gordon, no doubt he's going to have to take the repair.
Yeah, Gordon doesn't sound happy on the radio. Cody Vaughn from behind.
Oh, I mean, picture tells the story there. I don't know if Gordon meant to do it. I think him stopping before pit entry probably was like, oh man, I really didn't mean to do that, but a big mistake early in this race. Looks like Gordon stopped for the corner, and the 61 was giving it a lot more speed, and he just kind of got into him and sent them hard into the outside wall.
Worse center roll. Well, that cost him.
Yeah, he just ran in there a little too deep, and the 10 overcorrected hard.
Yep. And some of the drivers were talking about on the radio. The response from Caldwell was that as bad as it looked from what it was in his mirror. And well, I was about to say, the 54 is an interesting one to mention because I think you and I have both raced against him over the years. He's actually, most people don't realize this, he actually works for Joe Gibbs Racing these days, as director of partnerships over there. He works on the sponsorship side, I believe, as a result. He's been in the industry for a couple of years now, hence why the Joe Gibbs Racing paint schemes.
And all the Joe Gibbs Racing sponsors, National Debt Relief on the hood. He's got, I believe, AMPM on the deck lid, so he's got all the a lot of his sponsors covered there. I have not raced with him in a while, but he's always a fierce competitor, as you know, I think you know especially as well. He's a tough man to pass as well, and a tough man to beat on the racetrack when you get to the end. So if he can get some extra track position, maybe get to the lead late in this race, he will be a force, and it'll be tough to make that pass. He's already given it a good ride, though. Just kind of settling in, up those 5 positions from starting 11th. He's done a good job so far. Just kind of sitting there. Long way to go for all these drivers, though.
Right past lap 50, coming up to 55 complete this time by as we get ready for the restart. Wilkinson gets the jump again. A few drivers bogged down to the heart of the field, but look at this for second. This time, it is Hatlin having an opportunity to go alongside at least, trying to get something to work from the inside.
Ooh, got cars in the background. Another crash. 15. This is a huge crash in turn 3 and 4.
Another spin and another pile up. Gordon Amonso's getting some contact. Radio goes off as the caution goes up.
Looked like it started a parking lot on pit entry. They're blocking pit entry, so hopefully no one has to pit. It looked like it started with Del Toro and just evolved from there, as that is as damaged as a super late model as you'll see on iRacing. The right front completely off the ground, just dragging the front end.
Gotta love the damaged model. That car, 2 shreds with the faster pair. But you mentioned Del Toro. He had Jacob Phillips alongside him, notice, down the back straight away after the bogged down restart for the outside line. It almost looked like, though, the outside and the inside lanes blended together. Yes, they melded together, and that caused a stack up.
15 gets into it. He goes over correcting of a wall. Del Toro comes down the track. That might have been a dozen cars involved. See the 25 involved in another one. It looked like maybe Del Toro was a little lower down the track compared to what the driver on the inside was thinking was going to be. Del Toro says he couldn't go higher. You know, I'm sure that will be discussed even more, but you can see how much of a mess this makes. And at 5 flags, it kind of looks wide for a short track, but the groove is really 1.5 lanes for a super late model. And when there's a crash like that, you have nowhere to go. And you can see that because how many cars got involved in this.
Yeah, some heavy licks. The 77-year-old blew over on the hard contact. Walt nearly going upside down from that sequence. Race control is giving some stern warnings to the entire field with the amount of cautions that have built up. Wren, Del Toro, and Burleson are amongst the drivers yet to come out of pit road. Wren just finished some service. So, we're coming up to our restart. And it's going to be Wilkinson in light still in the front row. Hatlin looking for some laps to battle. They've delayed the restart here, as some of the drivers I don't think have caught up to the pace truck. So they are going to go in their time. So now what's kind of the approach if you're the rest of this pack here with this delayed restart, or better yet, with all the cautions building up in general, Connor?
Got to keep your nose straight, really. I mean, we've seen a lot of avoidable incidents, I think. Stack-ups end of a corner, drivers not really giving room on corner exit, drivers overdriving the entries to some corners. We've seen a few different causes for incidents here and there, including some self-spins as well. So everyone, you know, there's a lot of grip with these super late models. If you're not going 100% on throttle, very easy to overstep the throttle, very easy to overdrive corners. But it's lap 60 to 300, and these drivers just got to kind of lock in a little bit and just be very cautious with their cars.
Oh, tire spin! Wilkinson, massive tire spin up the middle of the field. 3 wide as he falls to the edges of the top 10. A chaotic start. And here comes the question. Any black flags? There was a couple, including for Hatlin. The rest of the field continues to go as Walker goes around with the tech issue.
Oh, 38's around, 00's around. Looks like everyone will avoid with minimal damage. 00 had a hit. That looked like an internet issue, caused Wilkinson to kind of miss the start, and it caused even more chaos.
Then the internet issue popped up when he was just about, if not did make the contact with Wyatt Walker. So things definitely spiraled, didn't they there? you see how the heart of the field was. Again, massive tire spin. 81 got a penalty. There's not much you can do to avoid that. Let's see what happened here.
You know, it started, I believe, we saw Wilkinson blink out, and I think at the same time he gave the boot to one of those drivers. It might have been Wyatt Walker. You can see him in the middle of the pack. He tries to get to the bottom, and I think he might have actually gotten the boot himself, and they just stacked up on the entry to the corner. Couldn't quite see who that car was.
Yeah, so a huge amount of contact built up there on the outside as a result. The stack-up effect, you can see 55 tries to streak through right into the back end of the 00 of Lloyd Moore, who didn't lose any spots because of this, by the way.
So now we're getting to this point where we're getting so many yellows, so many incidents. Some of those drivers who have taken fast repairs and have no more, now they're starting to get involved in incidents, and they have no choice but to try to repair everything. But that's an incident that definitely shakes up the rest of this race, putting Wilkinson in a little bit of traffic, also a little bit of damage on the rear panels. Front end looks clean, which I think you'll be thankful for, but losing that track position pretty important. And now Nick Lights has a decision to make on this restart as to how he wants to control this race. Is he going to slow the pace? Is he going to try to drive away? Could be interesting. And the more yellows we get and the more laps these drivers stay out, it makes things really iffy as far as not having to pit under green, because it only takes one green flag run to happen where these guys might be in trouble.
So let's find out how this is going to play out here as they delay the restart again. A couple drivers weren't caught up to the pace car again. And race control getting clarification for drivers. So Lights, Cole, Lynch, Caldwell, Wilkinson still in the top 5. Phillips in the top 6. Hatlin and Rainwater in the top end. We also have up in the front Boyd and Smith. Keep in mind, the 81 does have a black flag from the initial dodge of the tire spin situation. Looks like they might be trying to clear the black flag here as they continue to delay this up. We've had a lot of drivers use fast repair so far, Connor. In particular, we've had 8 different drivers have to use a fast repair.
And like we mentioned, they're getting to the point where some of these drivers have no more fast repair. I'm not sure if Josh Wren has any more. Tristan Pena might be out of them. And Damian Neeson had a lot of damage earlier. We're getting to that point. A lot of these drivers at the back can't avoid these incidents because they keep happening around them. They're going to be really in trouble. It looks like Hatlin got that black flag cleared, so he should be all good. I thought I heard someone else say they had a black flag. I think it might have been Rainwater, but don't see that on my end. But I think he's got to be more concerned with the left front damage, because that thing's pretty hurt as he restarts 8th.
Del Toro is the one with the meatball flag you're referring to, but the rest of the field is rolling this time through. We're backing away with Lights with a big jump over everybody else, and it is massive. 5, 6 car lengths, the advantage up in the front of the field. Cole and Lynch battle for second.
And this is a pretty important battle, but it's almost more important for Wilkinson to see who gets through this and how aggressive he gets. I thought he was going to look 3 wide. That's a little early for that, but he wants to get back to that lead, and we'll see how that rear end damage affects that 56. There's a little bit of contact with Nicholas Caldwell.
A little bit argy-bargy here to get some of the spots back. Wilkinson.
Oh, more crashing.
And we're back on our caution again. As more smoke on the front straight away, as you can see from the stack-ups. That includes Cody Smith going the wrong way around. Wren had been down pit road getting repairs done again. So the 79 amongst those going around again.
Saw Cody Smith spin. I saw even another spin in the back. I think Danny Weir also got spun, so I think we had 2 separate incidents. Oh, wow, 79 just got walled, basically, and 00 almost flipped. He went in the air. Jesse Gordon's involved in another one. That just looked like not enough room given for 2 wide. It felt like from that angle, Cody Smith gave him the room, and he just got walled.
Gordon just about climbed. I think he did climb over a couple cars again. And that just continues to solidify what's been a rough night for Gordon, who, interesting enough, was not a part of the list of fast repairs, but no longer has a front clip at the least.
And And it's just another yellow that takes out about 7 or 8 drivers and gives those drivers a lot of damage. Cody Smith, he's going to have to repair all that. You're going to have more and more drivers probably retiring from the race the more damage they get, and they just can't repair it. Roger Diebold, a lot of damage. 63, Justin Clapper, one of the race admins, he has a lot of damage as well, and it's just starting to pile up, the attrition rate.
Again, there was a different donation total as well. It's worth noting that a couple drivers were looking to follow up on here tonight. The more green flag laps we get, the more donations a few of the drivers were going to forward as well to tonight's charity, represented in Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation. Again, like in the description to be able to learn more and to donate, mcchamps.org. Once again, mcchamps.org. The goal for the charity to raise $50,000, a part of its total donations, a part of many impactful causes in support of including pediatric cancer research. So right now, if you are cheering for more donations, you want green flag laps, lots of caution laps here tonight so far. 225 to go, up at the stripe. Lights up front, Cole in second, Lynch in third, Wilkinson has recovered from his tire spin to the top 4. Green flag is out, another good jump for the leader. Poor jump for the outside line again, it's side by side for second.
Ronald Cole just really didn't get going, but I think he'll have enough momentum off the top to keep that position. Now Wilkinson's in an interesting spot. You don't really want to have to use the tires to get around the outside, but he's got a conveyor belt of cars on the inside, so he has no choice but to hustle that car, as looked like the 81 got in the wall.
Some scrims going on for Hatlin in the heart of the field. He still holds on to 6th position. But the rest of the field trying to get back into a rhythm of things and keep it clean at least, get some laps built up. Drivers like Moore up to 13, for example, up 18. LaPointe's also up 18 spots with all the drivers that picked up some crashes here in the midst of things. Some of the drivers get warnings on the radio for technical issues. Here's LaPointe. Haven't talked much about the 3 in sim here tonight. One of the PJ Merrill Designs paint schemes looking to roll forward.
Don't know if he's taking a fast repair. Car looks clean, knock on wood for him. We're getting to the point where we're starting to see even some of the front runners with some damage. Matt Hoyland, the 44, the left front's completely sticking out from that 44. You could see from the cameras how damaged that left front is. And Rainwater, who got one of those warnings for blinking, he's also got that damage as he really missed the corner and entered a 3, or maybe that might have been his line. That could have been some experimentation. You see drivers sometimes enter high, exit low. Saw a slide in the back. Lloyd Moore had to make a good save, but everything single file at the front. Now they're spinning behind Lloyd Moore. Bo Condon just went around.
And it's another stack up under caution. Weir. Sviadak Alonso's around in the heart of the field. And another short run. Another caution flag. Let's take a look.
Lloyd Moore. Yeah, Lloyd Moore had a moment out of 4 and just stacked up Bo Condon, and 55 just couldn't check up in time because of that. That was Danny Weir. Just stack things up.
Big chunk up at the wrong time, and some of the drivers definitely didn't get the brakes wound up in time. At least a couple more hard hits for Condon as a result there. A lot of people are coming down for repairs with this caution. Here's another look.
Just couldn't get, just looked like maybe he locked up the brakes. He had the apron open, but just locked them up, and the car went straight into the crash.
So the cautions, precautions still, as we are still above 200 laps to go. Leahy and Terrier, the only DNFs. Miller is a disqualification because there were so many caution periods. I don't think they got the chance to serve their black flag in the first place. But outside of that, a lot of attrition already, and that's, again, the key about the field is if you want to be able to get a good finish here, Connor, you have to keep it clean, as we talked about. And a lot of people have those fast repairs in the pocket still, but you're talking about half the field already having a pit, but not for tires, in most cases, just to repair the car.
And it's just, like you said, that attrition rate's high, and that's another reason why track position was such an important key to winning this race. I mean, chances are you're at the front, you're going to avoid the incident. That was not the case with Wilkinson's incident after his blinking issue kind of caused the crash there. But for the most part, you stay at the front, you stay out of the trouble, and we've had a lot of crashes, a lot of incidents that have kind of happened near the mid-pack to the rear, and a lot of over-aggression for a 300-lap race. I mean, we see not a lot of taking and not a lot of giving right now, even though it's the giving season, so you think you'd have to give, but I haven't seen a lot of it. Hopefully it improves and we get consecutive runs in to get some of these donations going.
And keep in mind, this was an addition earlier today, and a custom trophy if you get the race win itself. We're back underway. Good launch for Lights. He's able to get some distance built up as Cole and Wilkinson now battle for second. One recovery. Geary, Pfluger, and Walker had some black flags. They have been cleared. Those have been dealt with as those drivers towards the back of the field. But you can tell Wilkinson trying to be a little bit more careful here with that crushed in rear end. More trouble in the back, and the caution is out again.
Like the 88, Josh Wren went spun. 420, Damian Neested was in there. That was another one that was kind of far back around the top 20.
Some of the drivers are asking the radio if it's torn into an endurance race, to say the least.
This is Oxford Plains. Spin the win up the pass. This looked like the 88, victim of another stack up, trying to avoid a number of cars sliding there. So it looked like it happened in front of him. Maybe Danny Weir again.
We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be back after this. You're watching V-Speed for tonight's coverage of the Universal Motorsports Tour. The Snowball Brawl continues from Five Flags.
Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation thrives on the strength of its global community of over 80,000 passionate fans united by a shared love of professional wrestling and a commitment to making a difference. While the foundation was founded to advocate for pediatric cancer awareness and mental health support, it has grown to champion and support multiple initiatives aimed at creating meaningful change in communities worldwide. Through dynamic fundraising events, awareness campaigns, and initiatives that foster connection, the foundation supports causes that uplift individuals and families in need. From empowering children and families facing significant challenges to creating opportunities for hope, healing, and progress. The Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation is dedicated to being a force for good. This connected and compassionate community continues to inspire action and drive impact, ensuring that hope and support remain at the forefront of all its efforts. Donate today and join the cause at mcchamps.org.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Racing isn't easy.
Welcome back. As you've seen with the transition over the green flag non-stop. Green flag came out just a moment ago. Big Light still in control. Wilkinson into a rhythm in third. So they'll make their way on around the racetrack. So far, a lot of caution flags have built up. We're almost a third of the way through the action, though, as it's starting to get a bit dark. Already 9 caution flags, believe it or not, so far.
There's seen a lot of them caused by a little bit of over-aggression, but, you know, once we get single file, we get past those 5 or 10 laps at the start, things start to spread out, at least at the front, among other places, but starting to see things at mostly single filed. And as I don't know if night will settle in by the end of this race. It will be close, but this track will get a lot more grip in it as the track cools down a lot. We will see how tough it might be to pass. As more grip, I think the harder the pass it will get. So that blinking incident, the tire spinning of Wilkinson, is actually a pretty key deal, kind of sent him back a little bit, and it's given Nick Lights a chance to control the field and control the pace.
Right now you see some of the drivers tonight, we're talking about this pre-race, actually dressed up in their Santa Claus hats, or in some cases full Santa Claus. You see some of the drivers just minding their own business right now as they get into a rhythm here. For many of these competitors, it's about having a little bit of fun with the charity side, like Bo Condon's trying to do here with you. You can see his setup. A lot of people in the holiday spirit a little bit early.
Get the Rowdy Energy plaque on the wall as well. For some reason, that's the first thing I noticed. He's kind of had a struggle, been in some incidents here and there, but still sticking it out. Not terribly looking car compared to how some of the others we've seen. He's back in 20th, just trying to get some chances, and another caution's out. Another crash.
Stack up. Rainwater's in. We have a spin after the caution. Danny Weir.
And that wreck happened, I believe, for about the 7th position. Noah Rainwater was the first car around.
See, John Walker was the one who actually hit Weir. At the least he's in disbelief. Weir is. But the reason for the caution, she said the 05 of the 56. Here's the secondary incident.
And 55 checks up for the yellow, and I guess couldn't tell maybe the 14 was there, and he wasn't really quite ready for that.
That went straight up to the entire corner with Rainwater. Really backed up and got a lot of contact.
Yeah, I don't know if Rainwater is having issues or what. I mean, we saw the left front damage that was already there on the car. And you could see Rafe Hatlin, who was 6, had really pulled away. So it's almost like 05 was really holding that line up, and they were just done waiting for him. That was Jacob Phillips, who got in the back of him.
So the Luke's Playhouse Wellness Center and Gym Machine has a lot of heavy damage from that. And it's going to be another stack up coming up for the restart. Nick Lights continues to control things up at the front of the field. Let's see. Why don't we get the opportunity if we can to see if we get a chat with him. Nick Lights, you're up at the front of the field. How are you feeling about the race so far here tonight? You have led so far 43 straight.
This is fun. I'm having a blast. Track's changing, so it's you know, another challenge we got to face. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
Very quickly, what's the approach knowing you have to change the tire set soon? You've already used up 100 laps here.
Yeah, just kind of save what we have now, and when that fuel runs out, we'll put another set on and just ride till about 50 to go and do another hard charge at it and see if we can't pull this thing off and show up in victory lane.
All right, so we're coming up to 1 to green. They did add a pace lap since our driver's still sorted. Let you get back to your team. Thanks for the time, Brooke Look.
Thank you.
Like Lights taking a quick word with us here. Heard that approach. Save the tires until 50 to go. That's smart with this car, Connor.
And definitely what he needs to do. I mean, let alone, you obviously need to save the car, but if you lead, you should be able to do that pretty easily. The tire is the most important part. Have a lot of drivers still at the front who have not taken that set yet, or not any of the 2 extra sets we have. Obviously, he's one of them. So he's doing a good job just doing what he needs to do and saving what he needs to save before we get to the final third of this race.
Damon Eason, the latest of the drivers to park it for the night. We're down to 28 remaining. Lights is off and away. Continues to control things throughout with the car store experience. Keeps up at the front. Caldwell. Look at how high he's got it up here. JGR employee up to 2nd. Look on the recovery as well with Hatlin also joining the fight. Able to bounce back from that initial situation with the tire spin with Wilkinson.
again, speaking of Wilkinson, we didn't really note it, but we did have some runners at the front take pit stops, and Wilkinson was one of them and put him back 17th or 18th position. So really one of the first front runners to come down and take that first set, take the first bit of fuel, as that battle for second still side by side.
Noah Rainwater just had a tech issue. We have a big crash in turn 1. Melee amongst those hard on the wall. Lynch also collected. John Walker in it also. Some of the air drivers like the 77 who had just taken tires also got collected some stack ups. We're under yellow as Bo Condon cannot find a way to avoid the trouble, it seems.
Yeah, I don't think he has a fast repair left. He just doesn't have any rear bumper. I mean, the whole front rear end has been taken off. You can see the whole fuel cell. Looked like he had a spin and more drivers got involved.
Yeah. Bo Condon said he got loose on the radio. He definitely got loose after getting a bit tight.
Oh, Brandon Wilkinson was right in the middle of that. Look at the hit the 33 took to the side. And that was Wesley Lynch, who probably took the biggest hit of all. Him and the 84, John Walker, him and the 33 probably got the worst of that. This is another few cars getting taken out of this one, or at least out of contention for the time being before they can get repairs done. The 39, Joseph Mile, I believe he got a big piece of that. He's parked it for the night.
Yep. And Wilkinson amongst those now getting more damage repairs done. Looks like getting the mandatory or about to the rear end fixed. Noah Rainwater said already some of the drivers 15 seconds of fuel. That's why Rainwater just lost a lap. He just lost a lap because he had to pit for so much gas. That's how much it takes to fill the tank here.
And had he not been at the back because of the 2 incidents he had been in, that probably wouldn't have been an issue if he was still in the top 10. But instead, he was back around 19th, and he did not realize the pace car is going to come up that quickly on him. And that's the risk you take when you're pitting at the back. We see it at a lot of other short tracks on iRacing, where if you pit, you know, if you don't take 2 tires, you're going to get laps. So that's something he's going to be aware of the rest of the race, as I'm sure a lot of other front runners will also be aware of.
Lights continues to control things up the front of the field. More than 50 laps led now. Coming to 188 laps to go. Caldwell alongside. Cole is still in third. Hatlin in fourth. Boyd Hoyland top 6. First to have any pit stop is Fluger. We're back on our way. A little bit better of a restart on the outside. One of the best all day, in fact. Caldwell got a decent jump there. He's able to get a hold of second quickly as the rest of the field, at least the top 5, get single filed out.
I've seen the top 5 not really have many issues single filing out. It's been really the mid-pack that's been the issue. It's why I'm worried why Brandon Wilkinson's back there. And it's probably why we haven't seen many of the leaders come down the pit, because they just don't want to be back there. But Wilkinson, he's taking that risk, because you can see him kind of at the back of the shot.
Yep, look at this right now with some of the owners with Santa Claus helmet hats on here today. You see them trying to fight in the heart of the Hornet's nest. The race right now involving Justin Clapper. But that look you're seeing here for this viewpoint, the 63. Direct drive wheel being put to full work here tonight. The race admin runs with MPM, and right now, an MPM machine trying to avoid any more contact to the rear bumper.
And we'll see if he can avoid that, but it just seems to me that he's got a lot of left front damage, which is probably hurting the downforce, probably hurting how it turns out of the corner. You can see the Dodge Charger of Victor Fluger all over the rear bumper, and you can see the gap forming in front of Clapper. We can see the gap forming in front of Clapper. He's really not keeping pace with the top 6 in front of him, and you can see Fluger, he's got a clean car, so he's going to try to get by him as soon as possible.
Especially since Brandon Wilkinson is charging past a lot of those drivers in this line. There's Wilkinson in the group, inside, in fact, of Fluger, and yet again, on cue, a tech issue. It's going to have to get that sorted pretty quickly here. Already heard of a couple drivers getting warnings. He might get some his way if that keeps on up. It's already been a factor in one incident. Near contact with Clapper.
He's been really aggressive, even with the blinking issue. He's been really aggressive with these tires, trying to get back through the field. That would have been a move that wasn't going to work. He thought better of it, and it worked in the long run for him. Just getting that over-under crossover out of 4, able to make that move work. Tires still matter. They don't wear time-wise as much as maybe some other tracks, some other cars, but they still make a difference. He's in dirty air and still in the pack, so he's not as fast as the leaders most laps, but a 5.21 coming through traffic still rivals what most of the leaders are doing.
Oh, this is wow. You see the rest of the pack, how it's going out here. Fluger, one of the drivers for Precision Speed Solutions, gets himself cleared on through. So has experience running with Phoenix Racing in terms of the various different allegiances and alliances he's picked up in the racing scene. Runs along on the league side of things, even though the guy rate's not high, he is fast. Oh wow, the Rush Fenway Racing spotter, Wilkinson, what he recovered to 7th on those new tires. The new tire speed difference right now, he's actually a 10th slower than those up at the front of the field still. So he is, if anything, keeping the pace a little bit backed up, isn't pushing as hard as he needs to. The last time by, he just went up a 10. But it isn't as fast as some of the others are still pushing it, who are already 124 laps in distance. Caution. And it's Bo Condon again. And we're under yellow again. Condon. He was driving without an entire rear spoiler. So that was an inability with him having 0 downforce.
Yeah, I've been looking at him at the back, and he was just trying to baby that thing without the spoiler, and you just can't do that in really any car. You don't have that downforce, it's going to make a huge difference, and he was all on his own. He tried, almost got off the track, but he was too close to the leaders for that not to be a caution. It could have been catastrophic. This will probably bring in a lot of leaders that just looking live. Looks like pretty much everyone at the front's going to come down the pit, including Brandon Wilkinson.
Yeah, well, that's a little surprising for Wilkinson.
Hey, I think it's got to be fuel only. No way you take another set here. But of the guys in front of him, this is definitely going to be their first set of tires.
Lloyd Moore did not duck down to pit. So Lloyd Moore, for the first time, is going to get a chance to lead. Everybody else, as you said, is in. Wilkinson, he's on the jacks.
Huh.
Had to have not taken tires of the previous cautions. He actually just took 2.
That is surprising if that's the case. I mean, even if he only did take 2, if he took tires the first time, I'd be very stunned to be pretty much only have left side tires. That would be pretty surprising.
Yeah.
So looks like, excuse me, Justin, I just went to look back. It looks like he only took fuel only first time, so he was doing that with not fresher tires, which shows how much speed he has. What I thought potentially with that. So Lloyd Moore is the one who stays out for the race lead. Mention him. Alrighty, 30 spots picked up with this call. One of the drivers with experience in yesteryear gets himself up to the point. And this is going to be a challenge now for him. He's got heavy damage, but he also was pretty solid on the pickup to make up those positions in the first place. Now, he's got one of the best when it comes to this style of racing alongside Wilkinson to have to battle. Also, Fluger and Caldwell up behind him as well. Fluger also, I believe, took 2. Looks like they're going to delay the green. There was a lot of discombobulation was hearing on the radio at the very back of the field. Then the race control just said they're going to keep delaying this until we get it right. I'm not sure. Yeah, just we had a lot of cars on pit lane. A lot of cars had to wave around, I guess, and that kind of caused that.
Half the field hadn't caught up yet, as now everybody except for the leader has caught up to the pace truck, or the pace truck's just caught up to the leader. They will extend this again because Roger Diebold got an end of belongs line penalty, and they'll have to sort that out, like they just did here for the 38 car. A lot of discombobulation, but it looks like we've got it all sorted. Tristan Pena. Give him credits, he's still in the race. He actually got a wave around on one of the restarts. He's still down 5 after his tech issue in the USGP V-Speed car.
I was going to show a V-Speed car. It looks good, but he has been in some incidents, and this will be an interesting restart. Got, obviously, the 0-0 on no tires, but we had some front runners take 2 there, including Wilkinson.
See how the tires grip up. Green flag is out. Oh, hold on. That might get...
no.
Lure gets turned in front of the field. The leaders get crashed. It's a parking lot in turn 1 as a good quarter of the field's involved. Lights get sent around like a frisbee, and everybody locks up their brakes in Calamity Corner.
Might have been 15. That might have been half the field that we have left. I mean, the 0-0 just didn't get going, and it sacked the whole field up.
Race control had said the leader must lead at the line. That might get looked at with Wilkinson, but after that, it got ugly.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else Wilkinson could do. As you can see, Nick Lights got a lot of damage from that. He'll certainly have to take the fast repair. He's led pretty much the last half of this race. I think it's another piece there. But like you mentioned, Justin, it was noted that the leader has to lead at the line on a start or restart. I just don't know what else Wilkinson could do. I mean, I don't know if he jumped it, but the 0-0 just obviously wasn't up to speed.
But after that point, wow, that was violent for Lights on the physics.
Yeah, it was a crazy crash.
But there's not much you can do when right here Calamity strikes, and only the top 3 and maybe a couple others got through. About a good half the field is down pit road from this.
See if Wilkinson to the pits or not. He looks like to me he's stayed out, and we just had a lot of drivers get put a lap down by the pace car, so we'll have waves. Wilkinson, Hatland, and I believe Mateo Lapointe might have gotten through that as well. We'll get an overhead shot. 0-0 just doesn't go, kind of stacks things up. 15, I think, tries to go, just gets into him, and it's on from there. And you can just see everyone pile in. Almost similar. We kind of almost saw an incident like this in the real-life Derby.
Well, they've extended the green, or extended the caution, should say, as a lot of drivers have to get sorted here. Drivers like Galman and Walker are still down pit road. Wilkinson, as we go, is your leader. So right now it is the 056 that is the control car for the upcoming restart here. Haven't heard anything in terms of if there's going to be a penalty towards his way yet or at all. Hatland is in second. Lapointe. Jadiak is up in the top 4. Clapper, Boyd, Caldwell, Phillips is up there as well. Drivers like Smith are still getting sorted in their line. Drivers like Vaughn, Hoyland are now amongst the many eliminated from this crash. So Wilkinson retakes the lead for the first time since his tire spin moment, Connor. Now we'll have to see if he's going to be able to keep it this time without any issue with the tires as they wear out.
Yeah, he's one of those drivers that's going to be on 2 tires, and I don't know who else might be on 4, but a lot of the drivers, put behind him on this restart have damage. Rafe Hatland has a little bit of right front damage. Sahadak, the 77, has pretty good front end damage. He's got damage on all corners. Clapper still has that left front kind of dinged in. Just shows how important track position is for these drivers, though. You have all these drivers in the top 10 with a decent bit of damage, but they don't want to go to the back to repair that damage. They'd rather just stay at the front and see what they can do from there. But we'll see how Nick Lights can get through the field. He took his fast repair, so he has no more lifelines like a lot of drivers. He's back in 13th now.
To have some fun again. Wilkinson hits the gas. Hatland to get a decent jump this time. Holds on to second. The rest of the field looks to battle it out once again. Top 4 or so. Single file. Clapper holds on. Some of the drivers push up the track. 77 losing ground. A lot of the drivers who have picked up some damage already like to let the car just roll and try and see if they can keep the time for the high side.
And we got a lot of drivers a lap down as well. We only have 11 lead lap cars, so Nick Lights, he's actually in a battle to get the lucky dog away from Ronald Cole, so they're both trying to get through the field and get that position.
Auto Cole doing a good job gaining ground, is actually passed by several of the lead lappers as a result. Those lead lappers in Smith has seen the bottom. They've actually passed their way up to 6th for the battle for the Lucky Dog. That's how chaotic things have gone in here. We're not at the halfway point yet. Not how we expected that to get drawn up. You have to just live with the way things go when it comes to the racing side of things, to say the very least. There's a look at lights. Last time by was a 10th off of Cole's pace, but having to pass a car.
No, Rainwater's in the same situation, trying to chase those two down, try to get a shot at getting a lucky dog, as they've gotten by a lot of the lead lap cars. Cody Smith is in the 6th position behind that battle for that lucky dog, and he's actually about to lose that position. Michael Boyd's gotten past him. As you can see, Rainwater, he's been in a lot of incidents. They are just chasing each other as hard as, they're driving as hard as they can just to get a lap back right now.
Yeah. It's like it's the race lead right now with how the racing. Look at Nick Lights up there. Just about snapped it around. And now they're moving Justin Clapper. Race control is Justin Clapper, and Clapper says, you don't need to do that. You don't do that to the boss man.
You don't do it to the boss man, don't do it to a lead lap car, but those guys are just straight up faster. I mean, they caught him so quickly. There was almost going to be contact no matter what. And you could see where Clapper's pace is. I mean, the top 4 pulled away from him, and he's going to start to fade a little bit more, I think. But Cole got away with one there. I thought Nick Lights had him, but really overheated the right rear tire at a turn 4, and he's had to fall back and kind of cool his stuff down.
So where to become the balance? Where, I should rather say, where does the balance now become for some of these drivers here? There's the change for 3rd with Caldwell up there. Where do you have that sense on the throttle to make sure you don't cook that rear tire over the course of this run, to make sure you are saving it?
I mean, really all you have is what you feel in the steering wheel and what you do with the throttle, and maybe sometimes what you could hear. You can hear those tires squealing. You're not doing enough to keep those tires under you. I mean, you can obviously feel with the steering wheel if you're getting sideways, but a throttle is going to be how you control that, no doubt. I mean, you have to keep that right rear completely under you. You have to figure it out. You probably should have figured it out by now, how much throttle you can put down, but that's going to change as the cooler this track gets. We're just hitting halfway in this race. The track is going to go through a lot of changes, and that amount of throttle might change once we get the 50 laps to go instead of 150 to go. So you're really going to have to be very careful on the throttle, figure out how much you can put on that right rear without squealing the tire and completely heating it up like we saw Nick Lights do. So that's what every driver is trying to figure out right now. Like I said earlier, not really worried as much about the fronts. It's those rear tires, and that's what you know, that throttle is going to be how you control that. And I think the 56 knows what he's doing when it comes to that.
See some of the other battles going on. Clapper and Boyd. Boyd is on the lead lap. It's one of the full send media cars in the field today. Clear on by and be able to get that spot secure. Not bad so far for someone who's been bounced around a fair bit with a couple of the incidents and stack-ups, to say the very least. Next up is Rainwater in terms of the running order on track at least. Some lap traffic there in terms of some of the separations. So as well, you have to wonder how some of these cars that do have the damage now are going to have their cars really feeling. Clapper, you mentioned, with the pace difference. That downforce has to be impacted for some of these drivers that have those crumpled up front ends like the 63 does.
You get on top of, you get the damaged car on top of being in dirty air. It's the worst. I mean, Wilkinson's got a clean car. He's running 16.6, kind of around that range, while Justin Clapper's about 2 to 3 tenths of a second off of that, and he's still kind of backing up through that field of somewhat some lap cars, some lead lap cars. But you can tell he's not the only one struggling. But I mean, the left, like we talked about, the left front completely sticking out. He's not going to be able to turn the wheel as much as he needs to, and he's just really not going to have the exit of the corners that he wants because of that. And he's going to be down a little bit of top-end speed, even though it's not really what you're caring about here. But he's still battling hard, even with that damage. He's kind of, you can see him cheating down the racetrack on corner entry, trying to keep Jacob Phillips behind him. It's just a matter of time before Phillips might get impatient with that, though.
See a little bit there with the near contact, pushing a little bit more in the center. Once again, a little bit more of a shower entry. You can see how defensive Clapper is playing it to make sure he doesn't allow that bottom to open up. But once again, At the speed difference, you can make the outside work a bit with the squeeze. That's what Phillips just did. Squeeze. Well, he just about cleared, but he hit the wall, but it gets the job done this time. But look at that, near contact as he pushed up the track clapper did.
I mean, you can see it right there, where the damage is hurting him the most, and it's definitely corner exit. He just has no speed. Can't keep any momentum up on corner exit because of that. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has a little bit of steering damage with damage that severe, that hard of a hit on the left front suspension. Would not be surprised if he's got some suspension damage of some sort because it's really been hurting him.
Look at Caldwell, he's gaining up some ground here. Continuing to dig away, currently in third spot. Caldwell, for reference, touch bit quicker than Hatlin. He's just digging, to say the very least. He was one of the drivers who took 2 tires.
Yeah, no doubt. Those two going to battle for second at some point. Wilkinson definitely got some of the breaks he needed here and there. I don't believe he's had to take a faster pair, but no doubt he's pretty much the fastest car on the track, even with those 2 tires. He will have to deal with a ton of lap traffic here, or not a ton, but you got about 4 cars he's going to have to get through at some point. Looks like Bo Condon will give way with a repaired rear clip, I would say, on that thing, so he gets put another lap down. But Wilkinson's kind of on a cruise right now. Obviously, this race won't end under green at all because we're guaranteed at least 1 more yellow, but Wilkinson's in a good spot right now, and really no one's matching his pace at the front.
Yeah, right now, Wilkinson just knocking the speed down to the 7s last time, everybody in the 9s. Sorry's popping with the radio, as let's take a look at your V-Speed Instant Replay. This scene, some of the drivers get shuffled a bit with the traffic.
It's just Wilkinson getting through, trying to figure out where to go. 38 got out of the way right there, but this is when things maybe could have gotten hairy. He goes up the racetrack battling with the 97. He kind of came down the track, almost got into him, and really stacked things up there.
Bit of issues there with Diebold, but everybody else continues to punch it forward here. There's a look at Caldwell. He's now gone right about to the rear end of Hatlin. Tough thing's going to be actually getting the pass down here, Connor. He's using that double apex line, going a little bit more shallow in some of these entries, but not arcing, now trying to push up a little bit for the apex and power down off the corner ranks, especially with 3 and 4.
And we just saw even on the rear, off the rear bumper of Caldwell, just saw another pass with a lucky dog. Sahadak 77 had gotten lapped, and Ronald Cole was able to chase him down and pass him. So Cole's still a lucky dog for the time being, and it's probably a long ways before we see the 79 of Cody Smith get lapped. But you see Caldwell just has more pace. He also has a cleaner car. Another car with damage at 81, I think, got a little bit of right front damage, hit the wall at some point, and he just hasn't been driving the same since. He's losing a ton of time to Wilkinson, and definitely holding up to 54. 54 chased him down, and definitely the faster car. But we'll see how hard the 81 wants to put up with this. You can tell he's not giving it up. He's chopping him, blocking as much as he can.
Just running his own line, and that's the way you can say it is right here for his case. Caldwell, though, seems to be good on the entry to apex, struggling a little bit to get the cut he needs to corner exit, and they've got lap traffic about 7 car lengths up the road. They're going to have to deal with pretty quickly in the midst of this battle, so Caldwell needs to get this done before that point. Does he take it with the bottom this time? Shows the nose. No. Wasn't able to force it along to the door yet, but he does have at least the signal starting to be shown that he wants to dig and pressurize the mistake.
You almost get kind of 3 strikes in a situation. You chop me 3 times. You're not going to get away with it the 4th time, but we've got so many issues, so many incidents, and it's really hard to bump and run zone in iRacing, but Caldwell's still doing it cleanly. Entered high, exited low, got clearly to the inside this time to the point where Rafe Hatlin just couldn't quite close the bottom off that time, and now it's about a drag race as Ronald Cole's just going to watch these 2 battle.
Yeah, nicely done by the 54. Pull away, but now it's about a 5-second gap just to get up to the leader. That's how big the advantage has gone in for Wilkinson up at the front of the field. He's still not in the 17-second bracket. He is pushing like wild to build up this buffer and keep as many people lapped as he can, and if not double lap some of the drivers that have been involved in some of the incidents. 9 drivers are still in the lead lap, but that number's about to shrink pretty quickly. If this pace continues, you see the spread across the track.
Yeah, 9 drivers on the lead lap. We have about 6 that are 1 lap down. Kenneth Gallman's the first one that's in trouble of going 2 down. Going 2 laps down in this race, it's kind of going to end it, especially this late. We're closing in on 100 laps to go. You go 2 laps down, you're really in trouble. So all those guys who are going to kind of be on the edge of that are really going to have to fight hard to keep their race alive and at least hold out some hope you're going to get back on the lead lap.
For some of the drivers here, as you see, Smith. So stick around. There's the 77. On some of the drivers battling. Now, what is going to be, for them at least, middle of the 1 lap down pack. Ways back to Smith, but still potential to be able to pick up valuable positions. This is still some of the drivers here in this pack who are fighting just to get to the prize pool have an opportunity there at the very least to position themselves just in case. But keep in mind, there are a lot of drivers still out of the race here that we have seen, like Vaughn, Hoyland, Lloyd Moore was up at the front for a quick moment. Then this 39, Jan Walker, Neeson, Del Toro, Terry, Miller, Leahy, amongst the many drivers that are part of the DNF list. We're at about 10 drivers out of the 33.
That's one thing about the super late model compared to other cars. Like the next gen car, you won't really see that attrition rate. Very easy to kind of get those cars back to 100%. Not the case with these super late models. Still a newer damage model, but still in the sense that if you destroy it, you're going to destroy it, and there's not much you can do about it. Then obviously we've seen a lot of yellows, and pair that with a car like this, you're going to see that attrition rate high.
Seen it come into play. The battle is still on for second, by the way. Caldwell hasn't been able to chip away to the leader, but Hatlin has been at the least the pace. Look at all the lap cars trying to make their way around too. Remember, some of these drivers trying to chip away to keep up for the lucky dog with Smith. You have lights up here. You have Ronald Cole that are trying to find a way to get around this pack to have a chance at the 79. A little bit of a dive by Lights, a little bit loose.
You don't want to be too aggressive when you're lap down. Regardless, Nick Lights is fast, no doubt, but if you take down someone in the top 3 when you're lap down, not in the lucky dog spot, that would not go over well, I think, by any means. But he's definitely the faster car, I think, of the 4 right now. He got by Ronald Cole. I think Ronald Cole actually let him by a few laps ago, saying, okay, you want to battle him? You can. I'm not going to do that. And they're also catching 10th place. They are faster than Cody Smith, albeit not by much. But eventually this could end up being the lucky dog battle. At some point, if Justin Clapper falls off more. Clapper's been lapped. Wesley Lynch is not too far away from getting lapped as well. So not really the battle for the lucky dog for the time being, but these 2 might be fast enough to actually catch up to some of those guys quicker. So we'll see if their pace can hold on, as Rafe Hatlin just kind of let those 2 by. I think he realized it wasn't a battle worth going for.
No, and some of these drivers, a lot of give and take with how things have gone so far, recognizing speed for speed. Caldwell saying, go ahead, you have it, to some of these drivers in the lucky dog battle, knowing how much the speed discrepancy is there. Not one to risk any incidents. Runs up on by. Gets himself back into line with 111, coming to 110 next time by. Laps to go.
Crazy how spread out this field is. It's not spread out with cars, but it's spread out in positions to the point we don't really have many battles for position. We just have a lot of gaggles of cars, a lot of lines here and there. Michael Boyd's kind of at the lead of a line. Mateo Lapointe has gotten to that 4th position. There's a slide out of turn 4. It's Bo Condon, and the caution is out again.
Another one for Bo Condon. And there is a DQ once you get to 30 incident points here tonight. We haven't talked about it too much, but there are some you have to wonder who are close to that mark. Some of the trouble here tonight. Bo Condon having a hard time figuring out if he should back up, go forward. Let's see what happened. Yeah. You see the spin.
I think we saw the same thing from him earlier, just on the gas too much, doesn't have the grip for it, spins it around, almost exactly like we saw the first caution, which I believe might have been him as well. Just kind of slid there, maybe got on the paint a little bit. possibly, but just lost it just like he did earlier. And big break for Justin Clapper, who is 9th. He's the one who's going to get the lucky dog. Nick Lights, Ronald Cole, unless the leader in front of them pits, they might have to take the wave around.
So we'll see if there's any other drivers who take the set now or they wait for another one. In terms of caution flag.
It's like Wilkinson stayed out, so Lights and Cole will have to be trapped a lap down, as well as Cody Smith. So that's going to be the battle for the lucky dog once we get going green again. Doesn't look like anyone else lead lap besides Clapper, who took the lucky dog, is pitting.
Open right now. Rest of the field gets itself sorted out here. You see that now. See the drivers taking some quick service. Again, Clapper only 7 seconds in the pit lane. See the error times up on your inside left of your screen. Gordon, believe full service. They both still taking his repairs done. The 77 still taking a lot of extended time for their own sake here. Again, under caution here, as we like to remind you that the Snowball Brawl is brought to you in support of Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation, transforming the wrestling community through meaningful change and supporting impactful causes, including pediatric cancer research. Help them reach their goal of $50,000 raised by making a donation today at mcchamps.org. That's mcchamps.org. Link is also in the description to today's broadcast for those following along on our YouTube feed here today here on V-Speed. And at this point, the question is going to be, can anybody keep up with Wilkinson? He's in control. He's been in control, I should say, much of the night. And he is going to be hard to keep up with if that pace continues on his long run speed. The posse machine has been flying.
I mean, no doubt he's been the one to beat early on. He was setting the pace. He wanted the set. Nick Lights was with him, but not really challenging him for that top spot. The only thing that's really hindered Wilkinson is his internet, his connection. It's the only reason he really lost the lead on the restart when it happened right in the restart zone. And funny enough, I think it was the 81 who was behind him that ended up getting into him. And then he spun the tires a little bit. That's really the only Achilles heel for Wilkinson. Other than that, he's been driving a pretty clean race for the most part, hasn't gotten a lot of damage here and there, and no doubt, especially we saw it in that last run, how much speed that 56 has. He has been on rails once he gets to the front, and especially with Ronald Cole lap down as well as Nick Lights, we really haven't seen anyone challenge that 56 yet.
Yep, some of the drivers. The communication on the radio, green flag is out, we're backing away. Good restart again for your control car. It's been no issue for the most part, except for 1 or 2 of the restarts. Called well. McClure by on the outside, rest of the pack makes its way up to turn 3, as we have a lot of carnage at the back of the field. Burleson, Condon, several of the others you see back there, really scattered about in the back half.
I think Ronald Cole was a part of that. I think he put that 97 in the, or he put another car in the outside wall. They were almost 4 wide when I was looking back there, and the 9 for some reason was in the middle of that, but somehow for now they've gotten away with it.
Take a look at your replay here. There was a lot of communication about the lineup. Yep, they were definitely 3-4 wide.
It's not what you want to see at a track this tiny. And Ronald Cole, I don't know, maybe he took tires. We didn't really see if he pit or not, but much further behind the Lucky Dog battle. Nick Lights and Cody Smith are in that battle. He's got a lot of ground to make up to get back towards those two.
So a lot of the chippiness continues on here. A loose moment for the 29. That was sketchy for Cody Smith. Race control just informed the field. No more 100 lap rule with it. 100 laps to go. If we go green to the end, it goes to the end. That's been made clear. And that is a panic if you are about half the lead lappers. So we'll see what the field has in store, where the field now knows next caution they get, they have to pit if they want to get to the end.
And I think that's the right decision. The green just came out with about 103 laps to go. It'd be pretty childish. Speaking of that, caution's out. It's Josh Wren.
So that answers that question quickly. Wren brings out the yellow flag. He had some help, I believe, from Wyatt Walker. Running at the back half of the car still running. Let's take a look.
Ren's 23rd. He's had a struggle tonight. He's 5 laps down, but still fighting. Around there with Bo Condon, the 85. Wyatt Walker was there. Looks like he might have hit the wall and stacked up, and 85 just got into him. And 88 actually did a pretty good job spinning it to the apron. Don't know if that was by design, but pretty harmless spin brings out the caution. But that's the second time he would have been in a bad spot. That was actually a manually thrown yellow, and I kind of agree with that. We already saw the 88 in a dangerous spot once, and it could have been bad, so I'm okay with the yellow there. It looks like Wilkinson has come down to pit.
So he has come down for the service. Caldwell's taken full service. Wilkinson only took an 8.9 second stop, though. So for the most part, drivers avoiding taking tires, interesting enough, including Wilkinson. Tires were taken, believed, by Caldwell, though. So the driver with the highest I rating, Wilkinson, still getting sorted out here, as a lot of these drivers getting stuck behind Jacob Phillips, because Phillips, Boyd, those two did not elect to pit. Justin Clapper didn't pit either in that sequence. So all tires up at the front of the field, and we've seen it be a terrifying sight tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. 00 was one of the drivers who had a pretty good bit of damage. At the very least, these drivers who have stayed out, relatively clean cars. It looks like Justin Clapper's gotten his car well repaired. So we'll see how this plays out. I heard on the radio the drivers who were about 10th to 12th were not happy. Those guys who would have gotten the wave around, like Jesse Gordon, Cody Smith, Ronald Cole, those drivers not happy with the decision by the 56 and a few others. Nick Lights, importantly enough, he was the recipient of the lucky dog, so probably the closest challenger to Wilkinson all day. He'll be back on the lead lap, but with a lot of work to do.
Yeah, he'll have to pass at least 5-10 cars just to be able to get up to the next position. Get to the upcoming restart. Sun starting the set here in Pensacola, Florida. And that means pretty soon the lights may turn on. It's 4:26 in sim time. So not expecting it fully dark, but it's going to get close. The field itself is ready to battle it out, though, with the sun shining very brightly into turn 3. Pace car drops off, green flag is out. Boyd doesn't go. Phillips does, though, and Phillips is gone.
See what Hatlin can do with this kind of 2x2 with old tires in front of him. Wilkinson's trying to push the limit. Kind of almost went up the middle, but he got in front of Hatlin, which was pretty important.
Now Clapper trying to clear by for second. Door slammed in front of the 21. Still trying to sort things out in the heart of the field as they make their way down the back straightaway. Wilkinson just allowing him time to be able to save here, wait for the opening as there's a bit of smoke popping up, and a bobble, caution.
Cody Smith. It was actually a pretty tame incident. That was another single car incident. I was about to say Jacob Phillips would have been fine with that going green. He had a great restart, builds up a gap, but all that gets erased.
Caution pops up here. Let's take a look. And almost 3 wide again.
Ronald Cole again, and some incidents back there. And I believe he was almost in line for the lucky dog and lost some time. I think Jesse Gordon's gonna get it now. But he just kind of booted the 79.
See it right there. Rear end. This is for Cody Smith. It's been a bit of a rough one for Smith. Was at one point in the lucky dog spot, but now plummeting with his incidents. But Phillips, Clapper, and Boyd all stay out here. And remember, Phillips and Boyd still have to come down in theory. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it the full distance on gas. Clapper, believe, had to use the fast repair on the previous stop, hence why he's got the clean race car for his sake. Had a 7-second service. This is the play if you're Clapper, at least, to try and get the win, try and hope to stay in front, but it's going to be difficult knowing the speed of those behind him who are all going to be on freshies or near freshies, or in a couple cases the fuel onlys.
I would say that was a pretty good decision to take the faster pair there. We saw him go a lap down. We saw he had really no pace with the left front damage the way it was. He got the break he needed. He got the lucky dog at the perfect, yellow came out at the perfect time for him, and then he decided, yeah, I'm not going to be able to compete if we get another green flag run. I've got to take the repair now. So as far as that goes, he did a good job kind of saving it, and now he's got a clean car to fight with, albeit not on equal tires. If he could just get a better jump here, maybe he'll have a better chance at competing with Jacob Phillips, but that was a really strong restart by the 56 last time. And Wilkinson could not make up spots that time. He stayed fourth.
Let's try this again. Green flag is out, and Clapper doesn't go this time. The inside zips on by the 63, and Wilkinson falls down to 6th with that mistake. Clapper still struggling to get up to speed, boxes things up as Wilkinson times inside.
Yeah, that was a really bad break for Wilkinson. That's let Rafe Hatlin, who has tires, get in front of him in that 3rd position. So now he's really going to have to play catch up. And that yellow also brought Nick Lights back into things. He's pretty darn close to Wilkinson's rear bumper now. Oh, crash at the back. Another big pileup.
No caution yet. No yellow yet. They're still stopped. Waiting for it, and there it is. Was waiting for that to happen with so many parked cars. Bergeson, 77, 88, many others were stacked up. They had that to have that happen. The leaders stop coming up to the crash car, should say, in that moment.
So Cody Smith, who's a lap down, was in that. It looked like it was the 88 and 97 who were the initial cause. So put Ronald Cole, I believe, this time he will be Lucky Dog, I think. Yeah, it looked like the 88 got into the 97 and started that thing. And a little surprising, no yellow. I think race control probably hoping they would roll away and get going, but they were just kind of sitting there too long. Leaders come up in a hurry.
And this is the caution trigger, this car. Reese Bean, he's close to the incident. We also had, well, car stopped in general. But this sees Phillips and Boyd still stay out. Wesley Lynch came down, as well as a few different lappers.
Yeah, so only lead lap car to come down was Lynch, and we'll see if that plays out well for him. Pretty much every other lap down car who came down was 2 or more. And like we mentioned, Ronald Cole will be Lucky Dog. So another driver who's had some pretty good pace tonight, he will be back on the lead lap. That puts us at 11 and only leaves us with 3 1 lap down. Kenneth Gallman to 71, Noah Rainwater to 05, and Cody Smith in the 79, who's got some damage. Everyone else behind them is either 2 laps down or more.
This caution is important if you're lights. So as we get sorted here, why don't we take the opportunity, if we can, see if we can pull one of the drivers in. See if we get a quick word with the driver, who is also one of the main organizers here. Justin Clapper, do you have a copy?
Got you loud and clear, fellas.
So far tonight, an interesting one. How has it been from your driver's seat? You're still in the top 5.
Yeah. Hanging on to this thing. It's been entertaining, to say the least. Roller coaster of a night. It's been a lot of fun, man. These cars are a handful. And so I was trying to figure out what this 54 is going to be. But really looking forward to getting to the end of this thing. Had some pretty good green flag runs, and got some strategy I hope works out here based on cautions to the end.
Of course, tonight, getting a lot of money potentially raised up for charity as well. Mania Club, Champions of Hope Foundation. How big is that in terms of some of the funds raised so far for charity, a part of this race under the Universal Motorsports Tour banner?
Oh, man, it's been incredible seeing the turnout for our first event and the amount of money we're going to have raised tonight. I think we were looking at crossing over the $600 threshold there before the race started tonight, so looking forward to seeing what the total number is come the end of this thing.
About the 1 to green. We'll let you get back to the rest of your group. Good luck.
Appreciate it, guys. Have fun up there.
Justin Clapper having some fun. And as he said, first race run, he's had experience over the years running leagues. Tonight has definitely brought a lot of talent. Part of what, from what can tell, what the plan is, potentially on a monthly rotation of events. But now, we're at 78 to go. We're back underway. in the field, tries to figure out a way to get around those who have stayed out, and now about 90 lap-old tires up front.
Honestly, the tires aren't looking too bad. 3 wide. Wilkinson, I thought he was going to push the issue. We're getting to that point where you're going to see that issue pushed later in the race, but Wilkinson just thought better of it as the 21. Michael Boyd kind of got the wall, but those tires are hanging on pretty well. They're not really that far off the pace, and Jacob Phillips has had good pace with the clean air at the front.
And Wilkinson able to get through. Caldwell trying to get through. Lights trying to pass on the outside of Clapper. Got a little bit of a wall scrape there in his 51 machine. They try and make the pass as quickly as possible. Looks like Lights giving as much space to the boss man as possible here, as all those drivers who have the fresher rubber or have had the rapid speed line up behind the leader. Lights still yet to clear. It's losing him ground. Oh, wow. That gap continues to grow between the top 4 and where this battle is.
And Wilkinson almost caused a crash. He tried to dive to the inside of Hatlin into turn number 1, and he got squeezed almost into the inside wall that juts out into turn number 1. He's got the pace right now. Those top 3 driving as hard as they can. We're at the point where you're kind of done conserving the tires. You're trying to get the track position, get to the lead if you can. We're seeing that right now. These top 3 especially driving hard, but Wilkinson's got the tires, and here comes the move.
Trying to take himself in the second for the squeeze for the 81. Looks like Catlin says, you know what? I'll let you go. I don't want to risk contact with 72 to go. Lets him through. Some of the drivers, like Caldwell, still trying to clear on by Boyd. To do so, that gets Caldwell up into the 4th spot in the lineup. But that pressure's continuing to build up, you'd have to think, for some of the drivers here. See if they can hold on. Right now, the leader's pace for reference is in the 16.4s. Everybody else is around that range except for, guess who? Brandon Wilkinson, who is up in the 3s right now, trying to chip away by about a couple hundredths per lap for that battle of the race lead, and taking a much more harder line on the inside and making it work.
He is completely trying to wrap that white line around the bottom 1 and 2. He's even hitting the apron. He's borderline hitting the pit exit cone down there. That's how hard he's trying to get the nose pointed on the bottom of the racetrack, and it's working well for him right now. He's got the speed over Jacob Phillips. We'll see how easy that pass is, if it is easy at all. He's definitely got the pace advantage, and it's really the first time we've seen Jacob Phillips at the front. We don't know how he's going to defend, how hard he's going to drive the 0.56. I've been calling Wilkinson the 56, but it's the battle of the 56s right now. I got one with the extra 0, but Wilkinson been a dominant car. We'll see if Jacob Phillips wants to defend this hard. We're getting near to the end. Here comes the move right here.
Going for the sin. Oh, that's going to be sketchy.
Whoa, almost spun. Sorry, Nicholas Caldwell almost spun at the back, and they saved it. This battle for the lead's still going to go.
Yeah, that was on a sin on Hatlin. Race lead. Right now, Phillips, he's trying to give some space. Now he's comfortable to move down this time. Wilkinson trying to take advantage of a bobble. Phillips got loose out of 4. Here comes the sin into 1. Wilkinson wraps the white line side by side down the back straightaway. Wilkinson looks for the edge in the posse machine. Can he find a way to clear? More bobbles back and forth as Phillips still not giving it up, but Wilkinson's got the roll for the lead.
Can have it right there. I think Phillips wanted to try to roll the way high side, see if he could get a run. He just doesn't have the extra grip to be able to do that, and Wilkinson's right back to the point as these top 3 have taken, kind of gotten away from the rest of the field. Nick Lights is up to 4th. Nicholas Caldwell's back to 5th after he had a big slide trying to get under Rafe Hatlin for that 3rd spot, and it almost took him out of the race.
Still 63 laps to be able to get the job done, though. It's not easy to finish things out cleanly. Keep in mind, you have some fast drivers like Lights who jumped up to the 4th spot. And remember his strategy to save until the 50 to go mark. Some of these drivers, they might be allowing Wilkinson to push hard and then waiting to see if they can catch up here. Counterpoint, you have some of the errors, you can tell Phillips' rear tire is going with the way he's been wiggling off these corners.
Yeah, those tires definitely starting to fade, and that battle is kind of cooling up. It's heating up for 2nd, but it's heating up for about the 7th position. There are cars all over the track at turn number 4. Justin Clapper, Jesse Gordon, they had some contact last lap, and it's really stacking things up.
Now look at this right here. Gordon amongst the drivers who have had to claw their way back into the contention. He has been multiple laps down for parts of this race. Now it's up to 7th for Jesse Gordon, the 10 car. What a recovery.
10 cars getting through the field. Justin Clapper, pretty aggressive move to get to the bottom middle of 1 and 2, but he made it work. Battle for second. Hatling got to the inside of the 56 of Phillips, and now they're not giving an inch. We saw not much give and take earlier, but we're seeing definitely a lot of take at this point. No room being given at this point. You can see how tight the side-by-side is at this point of the night. As looked like the 25 came down the pit lane. He was already multiple laps down, but the action is heating up as there was almost contact there.
A lot of contact, very much so. Those tires aren't holding well, as talked about, for the Phillips Wraps and Graphics machine. But for now, the rest of the field, it's about, can he keep chugging along? Here's a look at where that came to be. Yep, right there, missed a bit at the bottom, hanged on each other, a little bit of a love tap.
Yeah, there was contact there. I thought there wasn't, but Hatland just drove it in there saying, you know what, I'm getting this spot now, I'm not waiting. And we'll see if he has anything left for Wilkinson after getting passed by him earlier, but that little bit of contact slowed both drivers up. Here comes Nick Lights trying to get the third position. Nicholas Codwell's right in the battle as well, trying to get those tires back in shape after he had a slide 10 or so laps ago. And look at the room not being given by either driver right now. This is good stuff.
Now Lights trying to find a way to get some clearance. This is for third. Looks like he's got it. Yes, he does. The 51 able to move up. He brings Caldwell down to the bottom with him as well. Nicholas Caldwell edges his way near contact again. And Caldwell also follows on through. Now the tough part is they have to pass by Hatland. And then it's another second up the road to the race leader. Right now Hatland's pace is 16/8, most of the field showing about 0.8 of fall off, give or take 10 so far, with how things have gone so far with the course of this run. Lights still want the fastest car on track. Phillips in the 17 flats is the slowest on the lead lap.
And it's pretty clear that I don't know even if this does go green, I'm not sure if Wilkinson will end up catching much lap traffic. He will probably catch Josh Wren and Walter Sahadak in the 77, but after that, it's a pretty big climb to get to the back of the main line that we see down the back straightaway. So for the most part, he's going to have clean air to the very end and not much traffic to deal with. So that's going to make everyone else's lives, everyone's jobs to catch him a lot more difficult to do.
See right now, a lot of those fans still packed to the outside of the racetrack here. Inside the racetrack, the intensity has continuously ramped up for some of the drivers. Clapper, by the way, has fallen all the way down to 10th. The lights are now on parts of the facility here. Curious how the visibility is going to go here in the nighttime, because there's only so many lights around this racetrack. Sun really setting, making things orange tinted around the rest of the facility. Wilkinson, for the first time, really hasn't had to deal too much with lap traffic. He won't deal with lap traffic, at least in our 15-20 laps. Lots of room to breathe, just set the tone in the 16/8.
What was a little bit of contact there? I thought there was going to be. Nick Lights might have just given the bumper to the 81, trying to get that second position.
Yes, indeed. It's getting a little aggressive here. Lights up the inside. Still have Hatland trying to provide a little bit of a squeeze, force some mistakes here. Looks like Lights trying to make sure he doesn't hit the quarter panel. It's going to be tough, though. This time squeezing the apron. Give and take may just about be gone. He nearly washed up into the fender.
And this is not the first time the 81's kind of been in this situation. We said earlier, Codwell got to him, and he pretty much gave him no room up into the corner. And we're seeing that right now, how defensive Rafe Hatland is getting right now. This battle for second is just about to go south, as they are darn close to wrecking 3 or 4 cars here.
Here contact again. Here comes the bump. Little bit of a rub. Not enough to loosen him up. Hatland bobbled this time. Open up the door. There is Forrest. Push up the racetrack.
You can only do so much before you get booted out of the way like that. Hatland was being a little bit too aggressive, trying to protect that bottom line, and Nick Lights was done with it. Good, decent move from Lights. As clean as you can make that work when it's right front to left rear, and it sent the 81 back to 4th.
See that happening, and Hatland falls out of the podium positions with that. Here comes the test. Can the 51 chip away a more than 2-second gap in 42 laps? The strategy, remember, was save for this point of the race. Well, he's about to get tested here, to say the very least. He's one of the drivers who took 4 tires on his most recent stop. Seen Wilkinson prefer a lot of the 2-tire calls with the left side tire wear. That time by, the time was about even. Only 9 1/1000ths quicker, not much time chewed away.
But how about, we just saw a lucky dog given out. How about the guy in 6th position, Ronald Cole? We're at 40 to go. I'm not sure if he can pass all those cars to get to the front, but it's been an incredible climb. He started tail end of the lead lap, and he's running some of the best times right now. He just ran a 16.91, which was the fastest of the top 6. He's caught that, what was that battle for 2nd position. Really strong recovery for him, and he might get a podium himself by the end of this.
Especially with how things have shaped up absolutely here. I'll have to see if Cole's going to be able to chip away. He's got fresher tires than some of the drivers in front. Right now in his chew away in 6th position. The thing is, a lot of these drivers starting to get scattered around the racetrack. Some of the drivers splintered as far back as half the track behind again. Smith battling amongst this pack. And Walker back here. Roger Diebold, who is amongst those several laps down here too. And we have some door-to-door contact. Clapper has Smith send it deep, nearly spins it.
Oh, that was pretty close contact. They kind of just came into each other. It looked like the 79 drifted up. Then when it came down the track, he got a piece of the apron, which is so easy to do at this track with how uneven turns 3 and 4 is. He got away with one there.
Some of the drivers laps down here are getting in the mix, as we just said. It's a little bit more disruptive here, like drivers with Walker back there. But up front, these two not gaining. If anything, they've lost ground to the race leader. Caldwell is focused on trying to find a way to get the highest he can here. What's the prize total for 2nd? It's a big drop off first. It's $45. 3rd gets $35. Do you want an extra $10? Caldwell says, yes, please. Give me that money.
I'd say, I don't know if anyone has a chance to catch Wilkinson, because he's going to get into some traffic here, but Caldwell no doubt faster than Nick Lights. I think Lights burned some stuff off trying to get that pass done on the 81. It's kind of cost him some pace here, and we'll see if he can hold on to that 3rd spot, because I think, at least right now, Ronald Cole still looks like the fastest car on the track. He got the 5th by Jacob Phillips, but now probably the toughest pass tonight is passing the 81 of Rafe Hatlin, so we'll see how he deals with this. He's already given him a little bit of a tap out of turn 4 right there.
If anything, it helped him exit the corner more than anything else there. What will the next one go look like? Cole, well, he used a couple of bump and runs. He's been flogged a few caution flags. He looks to try and get the run. At the checkup again. Hatlin bobbled again off the corner, but not enough to open up the door. So what do you do if you're Cole here? We've already seen him force the issue a couple times here. Just try to cut on the apron there and lost ground because he went on the flat.
I mean, we definitely know he's a little faster than the 81 right now, but he's driving in a little bit too hard, and he's really given up a lot on exit. He's got to back up those entries and focus on the exit, try to get a run on Hatlin to into the corner, try to get to his inside. The problem with that, he's obviously seen how defensive the 81 is of that inside line, and at this point, I think a win's out the window. You're trying to get the best finish possible. If you want that to be the case, you're going to have to push the issue like he's trying to right here. He's all over the bumper, not willing to hit him. Now he's willing to hit him, but he checked up when he did it, and he lost more time.
Just not working to be able to make this pass for 4th spot, to say the very least. Give credit, by the way, to Phillips, who's still on the track. Phillips is somehow making the fuel tank stretch out here. How long can he last if it stays green is my question. Him and Boyd are almost 140 laps into the runs since the last time they visited the pit crews.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they were able to make it. And we'll see if they are able to, but either way, the tires, as old as they are, I thought they'd fall off a lot more, but they've honestly done a great job, and I think this, if they can make it, as there's the bumper to the back of the 81, if they can make it, I think it's beneficial to their race, but I just worry the 81's not going to make it. There's the crash.
Well, the 81 set up the track. Wonder when that was going to happen again. That's his 2nd bumped up in a run. Right front is crushed in.
It's broken. He's going to go in the wall again. Broken suspension, and he's not going to be able to get down. He knew that was coming. He was a little bit too aggressive. Now that's come off the car. Not going to be a yellow for debris, but there's a tire flying around the track, and he's going to have to find a way to get the pit lane somehow. As he's going to get lapped at some point and have to come across the leader. Now he finally gets down to the bottom.
Still carrying more than 80 miles an hour without a front tire. No caution from that, but he's not been wanting to let people pass, and he gets pushed hard in the wall.
I mean, we knew it was coming. He was a little bit too defensive, and at this point in the race, that give and take is out the window, but that goes both ways. The driver who's trying to pass is going to get impatient if he's getting held up, and Ronald Cole was done with it and just kind of booted him, almost hit him the same place Lights did, but a little bit harder than the 51 of Lights did, and it sent him hard into that concrete.
Looks like he's taking the faster pair. Keep an eye on the 81 after that one. 22 to go. Meanwhile, Wilkinson's gap almost 3 seconds. 175 laps led tonight for the Rush Finley Racing spotter. Works with Ryan Brees these days. Been a spotter for a long time when it comes to racing, to say the very least. Tonight has been putting a whooping to this field, to say the very least, when he hasn't been marred in traffic. This is going to be so difficult to be able to close up for anybody else here. He's just been so comfortable up front. Once you give him clean air, he just takes off. He just finds a way to get the car to cut a lot more than everybody else.
I mean, no doubt that iRacing advantage, some people say that sometimes that iRacing's inflated. I'll be honest, sometimes I say that as well, but there's nothing inflated about the advantage he has consistently, especially on the short tracks. He's been one of the faster drivers in this case, and we could see it in full force. I mean, he's been so much better keeping the tires on it, keeping his fenders clean for the most part. Like we said earlier, the only thing that's really deterred him has been his internet, and he's powered even through that to now have a 3-second lead with about 17 laps to go. He's had the best short run pace, long run pace. He has been the guy tonight, no doubt.
Absolute great job here tonight, to say the very least. But he's still got to keep it clean for any potential troubles that come in over the course of 16 laps in this one. Right now, by the way, Ronald Cole has just about caught up to that train for second. Remember that 9 machine, what he was doing? Well, he's been able to chip away the gap because it's been marginally quicker. The car's in front. He's now found his way within a second of the 51 and the 54. He might be able to have a chance at one of them by the time this is done if it goes green.
And I think it's a similar case to what Nick Lights dealt with getting by the 81. I think he really pushed his stuff trying to get that position. He's still got a tiny pace advantage, a very small pace advantage, but it's not what it was. Really pushed his stuff to get back up there. I still think he'll take it, but obviously it took some life out of those tires.
Yeah, that's going to be the hard thing is he's quickest of the 3, but it's only by a couple 1,000ths. That's not going to get you a pass done. All this while, you see drivers like Lynch, whoever took a set later than some of the other drivers, rather. There's a chance maybe to get to Gordon and Boyd. The final 12 laps here. Even the small difference of 15, 20 laps seems to have been equalized out of the course's run with the way the tires worked out.
It is sort of equalized. I mean, we're not really seeing that much of a pace difference from second on down, and we're still seeing Brandon Wilkinson a lot faster than the drivers in front of, behind him. But really, second on back, especially the lead lap cars in the top 5, have kind of evened out at this point.
Yeah, right now it's coming up around. This is 10 to go for the field. 10 laps to go in the Snowball Brawl. Brawl's picking up here. Let's take a look at the V-Speed replay. Some side-by-side popped up, but why, do you ask? Let's see what happened.
21 maybe a little squirrely off the corner previous laps in this battle. This was the battle for 7 with Wesley Lynch and the 21's Michael Boyd, and there's a little bit of a bobble. Couldn't quite tell if there was contact there, but the tires are screaming at you at this point, and you're gonna probably be feeling stuff you haven't felt at this point. So it looked like a case where too much throttle compared to what he had been doing kind of bit him there. Lost him that spot. It looks like Victor Fluger's going to come down to pit. And he was 16th place, about 3 laps down.
Something happened in Fluger's car for him to have to peel down this late. 158, 159 laps through for Phillips and Boyd, by the way. They have to be hoping that this fuel tank, if anything, lasts it out. The tires have surprised me, to say the least. But with 6 to go, it's been a phenomenal run to the finish. Wilkinson leads by more than 4 seconds. By the end of this one, it will have just shy of 200 laps led. 5 to go for the 056.
He said he might not probably won't catch all that traffic. He pretty much did catch the bulk of that back half of that line, but he's gotten by him all clean. He's got Noah Rainwater, Kenneth Gallman kind of in front of him, but he's pretty much unbothered at this point. He can kind of just coast from here, but you always have that risk that this race isn't over, so I'm sure he's thinking there's going to be a yellow. He's got to be in that mentality that there's going to be a yellow and stay prepared in case he has to restart with old tires on the front row.
Right now, Ronald Cole, he has a chance at a podium. That's the big thing right now with how things are looking. We talked about his close-up, looking for an opportunity to maybe take the spot away from a driver with NASCAR Xfinity Series experience. Can he close up in time with only a couple laps to work with? That's the challenge. Can't seem to get to the bumper, though. Still a car length back for a chance to move up one more podium. This one, couple to go.
We saw him get in the wall at a 4 a little bit there. He's giving it everything he's got. I just don't think he has the grip to catch up to the 51 at this point.
White flag is out. Final time around in the inaugural race for the Universal Motorsports Tour. The Snowball Brawl has been controlled by one driver tonight, Brandon Wilkinson. On a Mania Club, 1 to go. It's been a dominant effort, to say the very least. Almost 200 laps led. Brandon Wilkinson dominates here at Five Flags. 197 laps led for the Posse driver, and he puts on a stellar drive, to say the least. Caldwell and Lights on the podium, and you can see the celebration already on as some of the other drivers crash at pit road entry.
That was Cody Smith and Justin Clapper. I don't think any of that was intentional. I think Cody Smith just missed pit entry. And I did not see if the 81 had anything to say to the 9. I don't think he did. So that was just all incidental. But it's Brandon Wilkinson's night.
So we'll take a commercial break. You're watching V-Speed for tonight's coverage of the Snowball Brawl. Brought to you by Mania Club, champions of Hope Foundation.
The Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation thrives on the strength of its global community of over 80,000 passionate fans united by a shared love of professional wrestling and a commitment to making a difference. While the foundation was founded to advocate for pediatric cancer awareness and mental health support, it has grown to champion and support multiple initiatives aimed at creating meaningful change in communities worldwide. Through dynamic fundraising events, awareness campaigns, and initiatives that foster connection, the foundation supports causes that uplift individuals and families in need. From empowering children and families facing significant challenges to creating opportunities for hope, healing, and progress. The Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation is dedicated to being a force for good. This connected and compassionate community continues to inspire action and drive impact, ensuring that hope and support remain at the forefront of all its efforts. Donate today and join the cause at mcchamps.org.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to B-Speed for tonight's coverage of the Universal Motorsports Tour and the Snowball Brawl, brought to you by Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation. Tonight was an interesting one to say the least, but in the end, it was Brandon Wilkinson who put up the dominating effort of 197 led laps. Let's take a look at your unofficial race results in what was, in the end, a 17 caution affair. Was Caldwell finishing second with Nick Lights in the third position. Ronald Cole and Jacob Phillips were in the top 5. Gordon, Lynch, Boyd, LaPointe, and Clapper were all in the money tonight. Clapper being a lap down in the end.
Clapper had to battle that thing to the very end himself. He did a good job. And LaPointe in ninth, that was a pretty good effort from him. We did not talk about him a lot in the second half of the race. Kenneth Gallman, one of those drivers, a lap down. 11th. Noah Rainwater, 12th for him. He had some speed, just got trapped a lap down. Cody Smith in 13th. Rafe Halter, the big one within the top 20, was trying to make it to the end. Was really defending hard. Did not work out for him. Even had that fast repair, though, that kept him in the race, though, and he gets 14th. Walter Sahadak, 15th. Wyatt Walker, Roger Diebold, Tristan Pena, Josh Wren, and Victor Fluger round out the top 20. A lot of those drivers multiple laps down.
21st went the way of Bo Condon tonight. Then it was Burleson down 22nd. Weir, Maury, and long back there was Hoyland. Cody Vaughn finished down 26th with Millie down 27. Walker, Neeson, Del Toro were amongst the top 30. Your last 3 drivers tonight were Christopher Terry, Justin Miller, and Chase Leahy. Here tonight, Leahy as the first exit, 271. Down was the bench marker for the end of the running order. Let's look top to bottom of tonight's running order here on V-Speed. As in the end, Brandon Wilkinson, one of the well-known drivers in the iRacing short track scene. Of course, the Rush Family Racing spotter gets the job done. You're $165 richer tonight, Brandon. How do you feel after putting up what was a dominating performance, nearly 2/3 of the laps led tonight?
Yeah, I felt pretty good. Obviously, like I said, I come from the short track background on here, so obviously in the off season, any chance I get to run, these bigger, longer distance short track races, I always try to take advantage of that and try to run those. But yeah, we had a good car. Had a really good strategy. I got some damage there. Apparently, I had blinked out and kind of got run through on the restart. It wasn't his fault. It just was kind of a bad situation and kind of got the spoiler knocked up in the air. We were really, really loose. So I just figured we'd come down and try to fix the damage as best we could. But the main thing was I took fuel, and then we had kind of a longer run where I was able to get back up to 6th, and then everybody pitted for tires there, and I just had to take less fuel and cycle to the lead. And from there on, it just, it was good. We had clean air, had the right adjustments. There was obviously a big wreck there. It took out Nick and kind of set his day back, and that's kind of what we needed. I think, he was really, really close We were really, really close on speed, but yeah, we're just right place, right time, and it all worked out.
Yeah, you mentioned in terms of some of the adversity that you had to fight through here tonight as well. What, though, made you so it seemed comfortable when it came to the long run? Because a lot of drivers were trying to double apex some of the corners, like push up into the apex, then try and diamond off. You seem to have that ability to just wrap the bottom without even clipping the apron. Where was that balance to be able to get that extra bit of rotation, to be able to hold the lines as you did, where you were a tenth or two quicker than everybody on the long run?
Yeah, just a lot of laps. I've won, a couple of these snowball derby type races on here, and up to this year, the real life snowball derby was my Daytona 500, and arguably, it still is. It's a race that means a lot to me as a real world racer, and obviously, I come from iRacing, so this race means a lot to me. So just a lot of laps here. Really, really comfortable. Obviously, at Pensacola. Um, I've had a lot of success here on iRacing in real life. So yeah, this is just a track that suits me really, really well. I was able to take care of the tires there, when I had that bigger lead on that long run. And they said we weren't going to get any more comps, so I came down and just filled the car up with fuel and still had a set of tires laying. So that was kind of all I had. I knew them guys, at least had 2 or 4 tires behind me, and I was kind of worried, so I was just trying to pace off their pace there the last 80 or 90 laps, but just had to be perfect. This place is really, really technical, especially when it rubbers up. You just got to be at the right place at the right time. But yeah, just super, super thankful to be able to run these events. Couldn't do it without everybody at the Posse and Epic Media. Obviously, getting to run these bigger races in the off season is super fun.
So that being said, let me ask you this. This was actually the first race of the Universal Motorsports Tour, ran by Justin Clapper, who is also a part of the NASCAR scene, of course, on the pit crew side. Do you plan to run any more events from this series as they continue to bring out more events in the future?
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job. I heard about this deal at lunch today by my buddy Noah, and kind of been under the weather since the real derby, and I had no real interest in running it until he said it was supers at Five Flags. So I got a couple of these snowball derby events coming up, and I figured it'd be really good practice. But yeah, no, I thought he did a good job. This is a well-run event, and yeah, everybody was super fun to race with, so I'll definitely be back.
Any shout? Well, you already gave some of the shout outs. Anyone you also like to add to those shout outs?
Yeah, just Drew at Epic Media. He, we were talking last night. For 7 years now, he's pretty much footed the bill and allowed me to run all these races on his dime. So obviously, really appreciate him for that. Times are a little bit different now, but when I was a teenager, having his support was absolutely crucial. So, yeah, just huge thanks to Drew and everybody at Epic Media, Locotoco Designs. This thing was, it looked really, really good as well as being fast. So, and the Posse is a super good group to race with. Obviously, Majeski, Kraus, Brian Tedeschi, Riley Stenjum, just a really, really good group of people. So, yeah, just looking forward to the Snowball Derby races ahead, and we'll see what we can do.
Congratulations once again on the win tonight.
Yeah, appreciate it. Obviously, it was for a good cause, so it's always good to come out and run.
Absolutely. Congratulations once again to Brandon Wilkinson. He gets the job done here tonight. Second spot goes the way of JGR's Nicholas Caldwell. He's with Connor.
I do have Caldwell here. Nicholas, you had a pretty darn good run, P2 at the end of the day. Didn't lead a lap, but you were fast. Top 5 all race. You had to get through the field, maybe half the field at one point, but ultimately just couldn't quite get to the race leader. What more do you think you needed to try to compete for the win?
Yeah, I don't know, man. He was in a zip code of his own, but sorry that was a boring show because none of us could get to him. But yeah, ultimately I had a tire advantage on him there that last run, and then I forgot who was running third there, but I had tire advantage on him too, and he just ran me into the inside wall there pretty much. So I think if that didn't happen, I probably would have had something for him. But overall, it's a pretty solid run. Qualified pretty bad, and then drove through the field a couple of times, so we'll take it.
That's one thing I was going to mention. Saw that last run, you had the tire advantage. You were fourth. I believe it was Rafe Hatland, the 81, you had contact with, and I think you just said it, but I guess I'll ask it again. Do you think you still might have had a chance to get to Wilkinson without that happening?
I would have had a better chance for sure, but like I said, he was in a zip code of his own, well-deserved win there. But ultimately, yeah, I wish I would have had the chance to see kind of what we had there, but yeah, it didn't work out.
You made a great save to keep it there, and then you had to make those passes for second. We pretty much went day to night just about in this race, but you're at the front the entire way. How much did the track change, if at all, for you? And did you have to adjust your driving style at all because of that?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just because I burned my stuff up or what, but I mean, that whole like probably last 25, 30 laps, I had to run like the middle of I had to basically run like right on the tops of the inside seam. So I couldn't get it to the bottom. It was definitely rubbered up and it definitely slowed down for everybody but Brandon. So once again, congrats to him.
Congrats to him, but also congrats to you. I mean, a P2 finish in this event, a pretty good field. And I wouldn't say it was boring. We saw great action, and you were part of that action. So congrats on the P2, an event for a great cause, and anyone else you want to thank or shout out.
Yeah, first off, I'm just shocked that I got a 0x in this race. That was pretty crazy. But yeah, thanks everyone at JGR, the partners on the car. We have a really good relationship with them on the Cup side. Yeah, look forward to doing this a lot more in the future.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you in a few races in the future. And like you said, I didn't even notice that you're really the only driver with 0 instant points. Congratulations on that as well. Nicholas Caldwell, P2 for you. Thanks for talking to us.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
You too.
He and Chase Leahy were the only two with 0 incident points on the night. Shows the ability to keep it clean. Nick Lights came away in third spot tonight. Nick, you had to bounce back from some incidents there. Talk us through that recovery after we've seen that major stack up that seemed to blend everybody into what was a tough strategy. We've seen a lot of people lose a lap from one of the big ones.
Yeah, got trapped a lap down there, which was unfortunate in that, I guess, second big one or really big one on that restart. But yeah, we just had to fight our way back. We were, a top 3 car all night, so to finish third was a pretty, good thing. Like finishing third was pretty much where we started. I think I started third, so shout out to Brandon. He's my spotter and in the Xfinity Series this year, so I'm glad he won. He's in a zip code of his own, but yeah, we were just a third place car all night and to bring it home. Top 3 is pretty good. Happy about that.
You talked about the strategy of saving tires. Interesting enough, some of the drivers, like Wilkinson mentioned, they didn't even use their final set on the tires. Your thoughts on that approach and how it turned out in execution, especially after we've seen you have to use up a fair bit, it seemed, trying to pass the 81.
Yeah, he's just too fast, I guess, really, to use that other set. But I threw mine on, and man, I'm trying to get around that 81. I think I just wore my stuff out and grew that right front, and so I was pushing a little bit at the end. I think I lost second place to that point, and yeah, for him to do that and be that much faster is pretty big, and happy for him.
So that in mind here in the end, overall, what are your plans for the future, whether it's in 2026 or with this series? I know you have the connections to some of the drivers that have those connections to Thunderclap, like you mentioned, someone like Noah Rainwater. Overall, what's your approach for 2026?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun tonight. It was a lot of cautions, but it's growing pains, I guess. It's a lot of fun to do this big race, for charity and all that. So whatever they got planned for next year, I'll look at some races and see if I can't join those.
Any shows you'd like to give here tonight?
Shout out to everybody watching, you guys, for putting this on and doing the broadcast. It's a lot of fun for showing up and doing it. So yeah, appreciate it.
Congratulations on the podium here tonight in this one.
Thank you.
Nick Lights rounds out the top 3. I'd like to thank the entire top 3 for speaking with us during post-race coverage here on V-Speed. Connor, your final thoughts on tonight is, in the end, some exciting racing, but as Wilkinson said, the posse known for drivers like Ty Majeski and many others who, in the early years of iRacing, decimated fields in terms of the raw speed, well, put up some very dominant speed again tonight.
I would say a good phrase for that is some things never change, and we've seen how many changes iRacing has gone through with the tire, with the cars, everything really, the dynamic track. But some of those guys are just still able to dominate regardless, and Majeski's probably one of those on iRacing. Brandon Wilkinson definitely one of those. He's been fast since I joined iRacing almost 11 years ago, so there's no doubt he is one of those guys that no matter what car he's in, no matter what the track is, he's going to be a driver you're probably going to have to battle for the win. And tonight was no different. Obviously, I think Nick Lights put it well. A little bit of growing pains here and there with a field put together for this race. Had some yellows, but at the end especially, had a great run to the end. A lot of good action and a lot of classic short track action. We had some bump and runs. We had some dump and runs that were a little accidental, but the Snowball Brawl, a lot of fun. And the right driver won the race. There was a lot of drivers who were fast tonight as well, but Brendan Wilkinson, no doubt, had the field covered tonight.
On that note, it's just about time to get by for tonight's coverage here on V-Speed, here for the Snowball Brawl. Once again, in support of Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation. For my co-announcer tonight, Connor Horn, for our producer, and Bradley Cooper, and for our camera provider, Dougie Beard, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching V-Speed's coverage of the Universal Motorsports Tour, the Snowball Brawl, from Five Flags.